Good evening and welcome to the delegates and the guests. And today we are here for a webinar on bank audit using Excel by CA Saran Kumar from Hyderabad. I now request our chairman, Sri Jalapati, to welcome the gathering formally.
Very respected speaker of this evening, CA Saran Kumar from Hyderabad, Secretary of SIRC, CA Panaraj sir, senior members, friends, a very good evening to all of you. I deem it my proud privilege to join once again with the Elite Professional Gathering for a bank audit related seminar. On behalf of SIRC, I welcome today's speaker, CA Saran Kumar, to this program. I'm happy to welcome each one of you. Large gathering of members through this virtual mode. I think around 1,300 members have registered for this program. So extremely happy to organize this kind of program once again. I welcome each one of you for this virtual program on bank audit using Excel. SIRC has been conducting series of programs on information technology related subject, and one such subject on IT is in Excel. This one area is in Excel as an audit tool, covering wide range of tools applied in our professional services. SIRC in recent past, during bank audit season, conducts program on Excel with a particular reference to the performance of bank audit. MS Excel provides a lot of built-in tools for formula auditing and troubleshooting formulas. It can assist auditors, the fraud examiners, and management in implementing data analysis using Microsoft Excel, and prevent and proactively detect the organizational inefficiency and fraud. Of course, with the reference to the bank audit, Excel application helps in building working papers and easy for documentation. Different formulas embedded in the software helps bank branch auditors to perform with ease and analyze the impact on financial transactions. With this, once again, welcome you all for this great webinar. Before going to the technical topic, I request the CA Panaraj sir, Secretary of SIRC, to introduce the speaker of this evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your opening remarks and welcome speech. I have the privilege of introducing CA Saran Kumar you for the benefit of the audience. Qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 2010, he completed his diploma in the Information Systems Audit from ICAI. He is also a certificate holder in Forensic Accounting and Fraud Detection and course on Concurrent Audit from ICAI. He has worked with Microsoft and Credit Issue Bank for more than 4 years. Presently, he is managing partner T. Satyanarayana & Co. His specialization includes statutory audits, internal audits, forensic audits, transaction audits under IBC, automation of financial process, data analytics, including reconciliations, etc. Having overall more than 10 years of experience in handling data analytics, the analytical tools like MS Excel, IDEA, Power Query, etc. He has been the regular faculty for FAFD certification course conducted by ICAI. He has been the guest speaker for the seminars being conducted by the ICAI and other institutions, CMAI, NACN, etc., on the topics of data analytics with the MS Excel, audit under the CBS Environment, Excel as a audit tool, etc. So with this, I present before you the erudite speaker, Saran Kumar. Sir, welcome, sir. Floor is yours.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. And first of all, let me welcome all the members. And sir, congratulations, sir, for your tenure. I'm sure there will be a great work because you both are very dynamic. I heard a lot about you both people. And in fact, under Jalapati sir leadership, I'm sure SIRC will go in a much more vibrant way. In fact, earlier chairman has given a path. I'm sure you will make the path more wider and vibrant. Thank you, SIRC, for inviting me for the bank audit seminar consecutive. This is 4th year. Last year it was virtual. I still remember. Even today, it's not about a pride, but I'm just giving a note. Even today, if you look into the number of views, the bank audit using Excel crossed together all 3 videos more than 40,000 approximately. So let me recognize the same. I'm just trying to tell it's not about me, it's about the tool. We all should appreciate the tool. So with this, let me start my session. Let me share the screen without taking much of the time. I hope my screen is visible for everyone. Can someone please confirm? Great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So friends, as you all know, than more of theoretical, today's session gonna be more of practical hands-on. Though you may not have Excel with you immediately before when I am working, but if you have Excel before you, I request you to maybe you can start working on. Though this is not a workshop, but I request you at least note down the points, the important points, which I'm going to cover in next 2.5 hours to 2 hours 45 minutes. Let me give you a quick roadmap of the today's session. As you all know, next month we are going to start, maybe next 10 to 15 days, we are going to start the bank audit. As per the information which is going around in the social media, already banks got the panel from the RBI. Banks are going to send emails very soon, maybe next week, next 2 to 7 days time. If once we get the email from the bank, once we confirm about our appointment, then the real work starts. As I always mention, if you ask me, the bank branch audit starts, what is the starting date? I don't think so. It starts from the day which we step into the bank. I always tell to the people, it's from the day you confirm about your appointment. Okay. Once you give the confirmation, then from that day the bank audit seriously started, because you can ask any information, you can have interaction with them, you can gather as much as information as you can, and so on. So getting ready for the bank audit. So what's new in the new LFR? So this time there are basically two important things. The tools are same and the files are same, text to Excel is same, but there are two things which you need to more focus. Though I'm not going to cover in depth about it, but I'll just focus through using Excel or maybe the tools, how you can answer those questions which are part of your new LFR. So what's new in the new LFR? I may just cover 2 to 3 things. An introduction to the core banking solution. I'm sure very recently core banking solution, Kuntal Shah might have given a very elaborate presentation. So I'm not going much deeper into that, but I'll just give you a 5 to 10 minutes of exactly how the entire CBS works. Then unstructured data to the structured data. So this is the part which we take a lot of time actually in the entire today's session, because when you go to a bank audit, I don't think so your branch manager give you the files in MS Excel format. He give you the file in the text format, so or maybe HTML format or CSV format. That is what the first thing we need to do, because earlier days I still remember 10 years back or 12 years back, when I go with my partner, we used to get the print of all the CCDP file of almost 300-400 pages. I still remember we used to cross verify each and every item while rolling the pages. Now things are changing. We need to get the same file into the text. Then we should convert that unstructured data into the structured data. Once you convert unstructured data into the structured data, then the entire audit is under your fingertips. How great you play with the Excel, how great you work with the pivot tables, how good you are with the stratifications, then I'm sure you can get the control of the entire branch. So we'll see a couple of stratification related, how we are going to work on. Then NPI identification from the structured data. Once you get the data into your Excel, so if you look into even your LFR, the fifth section which talk about the advances, the initial 4 to 5 points where the data you need to put based on how you do the analysis. Once you go into the documentation side, maybe Excel related work maybe little less, and you need to go physical documentation, and you should start verifying the sanctioning documents, all other related supplementary documents. Ledger account analysis we're gonna see in case of especially CCOD ledger statement. If you have how many ways you can do the analysis. Maybe if you for example having an account statement, is it only if it is out of the order I need to look into, or even if it is within the order I need to look into? There are many instances, even if it is within the order, the account may slip into the NPA, because if continuously in last 90 days there are no credits. So though the outstanding balance is within the sanction limit or drawing power, but still that becomes an NPA and so on. So we'll see how to take the sampling and how to make a proper reporting. Then it's gonna conclude the session. This is general slide which I'm just displaying for the last many years. I still feel this slide has a lot of purpose. This is generally the mindset of auditors, including me. Whenever we go for, let's say when the month of March comes, every branch conducts so many seminars on bank audit. I'm sure if probably we take the count of the number of members who attend for the seminars, bank audit seminars, most of the practicing chartered accountants attend. Because our mindset before going into the bank audit every year is that in the month of March, this year I have to do the best audit. That is what the mindset of, I'm sure, every chartered accountant, including me. And keeping the same in the mind, we compile a lot of information. These days, the most filled WhatsApp groups are nothing but the bank audit WhatsApp groups. Though we are not in the panel of X bank, but still we join into the group, not because we are in the panel, but we get the information. So once we get the information, we keep it into a folder and we'll properly save that folder and so on. So we compile a lot of information. Then we attend almost every seminar on the bank audit. We try to enroll, whether we really attend it or not, but first we enroll. Then we attend, and whatever the speakers gonna tell, everything we note down. Then keeping this entire knowledge, we step into the bank. So once we go into the bank, as usual, we have 5 to 7 days maximum time. These days they are only giving 2 branches per firm. Earlier at least they used to give 3 branches. Now it is only 2. In some of the cases it's only 1, especially in case of category 4 and so on. So it is just 2 branches, so they give 5 to 6 days maximum. So it is almost like impossible completing the bank audit in 3 days per branch, because they do all the transactions in 365 days, and they do lot of review at least 30 days, and we need to complete the entire audit in 3 days. So we'll go to the bank with a mind that at least I should perform better, but we don't know what happened in those 3 days. Whatever we plan, whatever the graded audit program we download, whatever the audit planning related material we keep in the PDF formats, nothing works. We'll go to the bank, and as usual, like every year, we do the audit in a hurry, and maybe on the 6th day while we are signing the audit reports, again we think that, okay, this year anyway it happened, whatever happened is happened, at least next year I want to do the best audit. Next year the cycle will simply go on. So I'm not criticizing everyone, because this is 99% of the mindset of the chartered accountants. I feel the value addition must be, last year, let's say I was looking into 15 items. Now extra, if I look into the another 5 items, because of which maybe is there any value addition into my audit, then probably I can say yes, this year there is a performance improved. So I feel Excel tools are the best which can improve your quality level. Okay, so this I still feel relevant, though I might have covered this slide n number of times earlier. 80-20 approach, not only in audit, even in planning also required. This slide I kept here because many people are thinking once they go into the bank, then they'll start getting the information. Once they get the information, then they'll start working on. So out of the 5 days, first 3 days will just happen getting the information, doing text to column, and guiding our staff what samples they should look into and so on. Last 2 days, as usual, one day they do the audit. Last day it's only signing all the documents to make sure that our digital signature is working or not, or maybe all the stamps and proper letterheads we do carry or not, by taking the printout and just signing the documents. So out of 5 days, gone. So 80% of the time, let me tell you, please structure it before going into the bank audit. So you should have a proper plan. There should not be any deviation out of the plan. So I'm sure these days a lot of material going around what you need to do once you step into the bank, what type of information you need to gather from the bank and so on. So my request, you better follow that, at least that may give a lot of quality level improvement compared to the previous year. Let us go into the CBS environment. Though I'm not expert into the CBS related, as already Kuntal Shah taken a very elaborate session, I just give you what you need to focus. As you all know, any environment, we have three servers. One is the application server, the other one is the database server, the other one is the reporting server. Why I'm just putting this before you? Because you need to know the scope of the auditor. Application server is something where the user interface, right? So the staff, the branch staff, and all other working staff in the bank, they key the information into the system. That is what the application window. So the entire application, once they put into the system, that's a user interface basically. So once they key the information, that goes and sits into some place, that is nothing but the database server. So database servers are always structured in the format. And let me tell you, database server is there at the central level. It's not at one place, because if you look into the core banking solution, it is entirely centralized, right? So you can take one account from any branch, you can go to any part of India, you can just deposit the money, and that will go and sit into your database, and that will debit and credit your account, as simple as it. We don't get the access to the database server. Let me tell you, you don't get the access to the database server. If we get the access to the database server, I need to probably learn about the queries, SQL, and I should know the little database related language. But that's not required, because you're not going to get the access to that. The third one is the reporting server. This is basically, the second one is the core. The pure data is there. So the original data is there. So I don't think so every manager or maybe every executive level staff who take the decision, or maybe at the top management, they every time cannot go to the database, get the information, do the summaries. So based on the information which is available into the database, then they prepare a reporting server, because there are so many reporting requirements. Some reports may be for the auditors, some reports may be for the regulators, some reports may be for the government, and some reports may be for the internal management for the decision making. So these all data which comes from the database server. So you will not get the access to the database server. But whatever the data which is available, based on which the reports will generate. For your information, the reports will not be into the Excel format. Maybe some reports may be into Excel format, but in our bank branch audit, we may not get the data mostly into the Excel format. And also, let me tell you this fact: if any branch manager give you the data in the Excel format, I feel that is the biggest red flag. Don't accept it. You always ask them, what is the raw data source in your system? Or else, before you ask him to download the data, be it in the text format or CSV format or HTML format, whatever it is, ask the manager to download before you. I don't think so any manager takes the data in the text format, converts into proper Excel, remove the unnecessary data, put into a proper structured way and give it to you. That is almost like impossible. Okay, so you are going to get the data in the reporting server. If CBS is FINACIL, the reports can be generated. Okay, you can generate any report. In fact, one PDF which is just going around everywhere along with the FINACIL codes, and at the bottom they also explain, I think that's an internal document from the staff college. The advantage of the WhatsApp, the advantage of the other social media is this. So if anyone gets one information, that is passed on within minutes of time to everyone. But the problem with many of us, including me, is that whenever we get any information, we download it immediately within fraction of seconds, because our data in our mobile is now almost into GBs. So the speed is in MBs. So we'll immediately download it. We'll have a long press, then we'll forward to everyone in the world. Then we'll keep the phone aside. Then we'll keep quiet. In fact, we get the information, first we need to read. So I request you, read that information. I'm sure, let me open, that must be with me before. This is the one which is going around. It's not my document. It is the public document. I'm sure in a lot of WhatsApp groups this is available. If this material I have not given with you, you can check it out. If not, again, I'm going to share one more folder after the class with the working files. I'm sure SIRC gonna keep this entire information in the Google Drive, and they'll keep with you, right? So you can just look into this. This is an internal document, probably in the staff college, which came out. They have given proper codes, okay, to download the material, to download any report, how you need to do, and so on. Not only that, they are making even their staff more tech savvy. Earlier, I doubt whether they work a lot of things with respect to the Excel. Now, if you see, even they are giving the Excel related tutorial. If you check it out here, even in the Excel, how to do the text to column and how they need to do the formulas and so on. Okay, they are here explaining a small case study. Okay, I know that I need to go into my Excel, but before going into that, let me show you a small case study, what they're explaining. There is a menu called CCODCHK. This is a tool for the monitoring. Financial menu CCODCHK is useful menu for the branches, administrative offices, and auditors also. It provides the information about the account, sanctioned date, limit, debit interest, credit summation, interest date, etc. in the overdraft or cash credit accounts having the limits and debit balance. So what you can simply do, you can just use the sole ID and you can just put the ID, then the output can come into the same form, or else that will ask to export into the text file, which you can convert into the Excel. I'm sure this is a very common answer which we get whenever we ask about the data, that branch manager says that, Mr. Saran, this data cannot be taken into the Excel. Probably you can open into my system and you have to look into the screens. They clearly mentioned this is possible to download in two files. One is in the report form, the other one is in the list form, can be imported into the Excel. This will remain one more report unless we read the data. So they are in fact guiding their staff that if you only download it, this is like any other report until unless you read the data. By arranging the data in a particular way, by using Excel tools, one can have useful insight on accounts of a branch within the short span of time. You can just look into this. I'm sure you can find a lot of inferences. This small case study, let me tell you, they are looking into the running accounts with the turnover method. What they are mentioning, generally approximately 20% is the outstanding. Okay, 20% is generally the drawing limit. So if that is the case, the total credits as on that date, if we take from the CCOD account, let's say if all the sales and our entire revenue is going through from the same account, then if you put the total for the credits divided by 5 must be approximately equal to the outstanding or the drawing limit. That is what they are saying in a very simplest way, for which they are asking their staff to keep a simple formula. They can simply take the total credit divided by the sanction limit, and the total credit divided by sanction limit must be around 4.5 to 5. If it is much bigger, then they are asking them to look seriously. Okay, you can just go through this material since it is already there. I'm not going much deeper inside and so on. Now this you can find from the reporting server, right? So let's look into the next one. I'm not going into this again. Yeah, I said this time the LFR got changed. Before me opening the Excel file, let me quickly open the LFR, new LFR. I'm directly opening from the RBI new LFR review. So you can just go through this. The first one is for the central statutory auditors. The second one is for us. So branch auditors. So if you look here, the cash part is almost same. There is no change. I'm not going into the other things which are not applicable to the most of the branches, especially the treasury related, money at call and short notice and so on. Investments, this is a very generic comment, standard comment. We keep it because the investments are handled by the central office and so on. Let us look into the advances, the very important part. This is one way. See, in the new LFR, in fact, I am also attending many seminars of the speakers.
different views are there. Of course, new LFR is more elaborative. You need to put the account-wise related details wherever applicable, and the questions and the wordings they have used, especially the transaction audit, especially the words they have used the IS audit, and so on. So you must be little careful giving a comments towards that. That means the scope is wider with the new LFR. But in one angle, I feel this is a positive for us. Earlier, do you remember the large advances definition as per the new as per the old LFR was 5% of the total advances are the 2 crore, whichever is lower. Because of that, at least 15 to 20 accounts, maybe more than 2 crore. So we need to comment upon each and every account. But this time, let us start looking into this sentence. The answers for the following questions may be based on the auditor's examination of large advances. For this purpose, large advances are those in respect of which the outstanding amount is in excess of 10% of the outstanding aggregate balance of the fund-based and non-fund-based, or 10 crore, whichever is less. That means the first thing what you need to do, once you get the raw data, convert into text to column, or else without even converting into text to column, you can just take what is the total outstanding, including fund as well as non-fund based, then into 10%. Then you can use a simple min function, 10 crore or 10%, whichever is lower. Then you can go to the every category of the advances. That includes term loans, that includes CCOD files, loans against deposits, and everywhere, including bank guarantees and so on. Then you can put a simply filter in the outstanding column. Anyway, I'm going to demonstrate in Excel, but I'm just trying to give you. You can just put in the, in fact, I explained here. You take the balance as on 31st March 2021, funded, balance as on 31st March 2021, non-funded, then total advances, funded plus non-funded, then you can simply use a min function. So let me go to the working file 1. What I'll be doing, I'll just take the material which I prepared for today's session. Let me open this file. Let us assume these all are the loans and these all are the CC. For the time being, let us assume in our case there are no non-funded balance, right? So what I need to do first, let's take the loans total. So first identify where is the outstanding. If I'm not wrong, these two columns are put together is the outstanding. One is demand outstanding, the other one is term outstanding, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll simply go here, equal to sum. As you all know the sum function very well. This column, comma this column, close bracket, enter. This is the total advances, 34 crore. Let me start with negative so that this becomes positive for easy calculation. Then let me have CCOD total. So equal to sum, you can go to the CCOD, you can simply go to the balance outstanding, enter. So let me keep this also minus. You can just copy paste the same format. So total funded plus non-funded is how much? 168 crore. So this is the amount in rupees and this is the particulars. Friends, whatever you do while doing the audit, everything can act as a working paper. Many people, they think like it's a rough paper. So after everything, they'll simply close the file without saving. Everything is working paper to you. Tomorrow, once you get a notice from authority, when we need to answer, these all are the ones which can save our skin. So you must be very careful. So the large advance as per LFR is nothing but equal to minimum. You can use a function called min. 10% of 10% multiply with this, comma 10 crore. Simple, enter. So 10 crore is the one in the, I'm sorry, I think I have written so 10 in this case, because 10% of this is 16 crore, 10 crore is the advance for which you need to comment upon. So all those accounts you need to put here at the bottom. Let me go a little below. So this is the first calculation we need to do, and you can just put your large advanced calculation. Okay, then what you need to do, go to the loans, filter for the outstanding. So I have already highlighted the outstanding. You can check it out here. No outstanding is more than 10 crore. You can check it out here. You can simply put a filter. You can just go to less than minus 10 crore, right? No item in my loans which is greater than 10 crore. Let me go to CCOD file. Now what I'll be doing, I'll go to the outstanding. Let me highlight in a yellow color so that every time I try to refer this column, you can just go here. You can go to the same filter. You can just go to less than minus 10 crore. 1 second. Right? There are two accounts. Immediately what I can do, I can just put the account number, just copy paste special values. Then you can put all of the related details. This is also required. Then you can just copy paste special values. Just to understand what type of account is this, it is better to have the GL code also. In some of the banks, when you take the CCOD file and loans file, you will have the product description. That means which product it belongs to. Is it a housing loan, or is it a personal loan, or is it the education loan, or is it the agriculture loan, or is it the CC or OD? In that again different types of everything will come. I am into the panel of Andhra Bank. In fact, this file what you are seeing is from the Andhra Bank. In the Andhra Bank, you will not have the product code. You will have the GL code. So what you need to do to have a product code, because unless you are familiar with that, see, there are 5 actual codes here. Unless you are familiar with that, you better take the trial balance. In the trial balance, you will have GL code versus the GL name also. Then you can try to have a VLOOKUP. But as of now, I'm not doing that. So let's have one more column here, the outstanding. So I'll just go here. I said it's greater than this one, right? So let me take these two. Now let me have the outstanding balance. Copy this and paste special. Sorry, copy this and paste special values. See, these all are the one which I need to comment. Okay, so this can be part of your LFR. Okay, for which 100% you should go and verify the documents, and you should look at this. Actually, you need to do the transaction audit. This is what the wordings they have used. That means from the starting to the end of the entire credit life cycle, start from the first application till as on the balance, you should verify. That's the meaning of it. Then immediately probably I can put the staff name here, which can make a working paper to me. That's the staff number A, then staff name B, as simple as it. Maybe if you have 20 accounts, then probably you can again look into the same staff 1, staff 2, staff 3, and so on. So that you can also give the proper template for them, so that for every account they'll open one template from there. I'll tell you how to create the templates with the working papers. They can simply go to the file tab, then they can simply go to the new, and they can go to their personal. Here you can store the template. Once they double click, the template will get opened, then they'll put this account and they'll get the entire history of that particular account, and they can start putting the remarks. These remarks we can keep it into the LFM. So that is a flow of entire working papers, right? This is what the first thing. I feel this is the most important. They have clearly mentioned one more extra paragraph. This was not there earlier. Okay, so have a look. For all accounts above the threshold, in this case the threshold is 10 crore. The transaction audit or account transaction account specific details to be seen and commented. Where below threshold, the process need to be checked and commented upon. So what you need to do, all the accounts which are above the threshold, every account you have to do the transaction audit. This transaction audit probably they might have taken from the IBC, because there they used a word called transaction audit, section 45 to 65 of IBC. They were talking about the entire transaction audit, including the forensic audit. You need to do the entire transaction audit for all those accounts. So these accounts, no escape. When it comes to the other accounts where it is below the threshold, the process needs to be checked and commented upon. Comments of the branch auditor on advances, significant adverse features which might need the attention of the management or the central statutory auditors. So in fact, if you look into the entire objective of the branch stat audit, they have given very clearly that the overall objective of the branch audit should to have a transaction testing and provide the inputs to the central statutory auditors. So based on the comments what you put, based on that, the central statutory auditors look into the same. That's the reason even in the MOC they ask for a reason. Okay, what is the reason you are keeping an MOC for a particular item? So in MOC there are 10 lakhs are there. For each item you need to put what is the reason, because at the central statutory auditors they may be having hundreds of MOCs in a physical format as well as in the soft copy. They can't look into each and every item. So when you are very vague with respect to your MOC, then probably they just keep it aside, because like how you have a branch statutory auditor, the less time, even the central statutory auditors having very less time. So how elaborate you are with respect to your comments, so without they themselves again going into the accounts, they can simply look into your comments and they can work upon. So those all accounts you need to comment upon. The critical comments based on the review above and the test check should be given in the respective paragraphs of the LFM. So you can if you think any adverse things are there, based on that you can make it. See here, the one thing which is most important is keeping this. I think this with the experience which they might have when there was an investigation. Let me see an angle how probably they thought before keeping this. Let's say if any regulator called me, let's say a regulator called me, RBI called me, Sharan, 5 years back you have done the audit of this particular branch. Then I say, yes sir, I have done the audit. Then their question is, one account in that particular year which became NPA, and also fraud happened in the same year. Then immediate question is, why you are not looking into the same? Then as a chartered accountant and as a statutory auditor, we have a weapon, in fact, a great weapon called test checking. Immediately we say, sir, we are a statutory auditor, we need to look only the test account. So we have to take the sample and we should verify in a sampling method. Maybe in my sample that is not part, right? So they may say yes, they may agree because they also know the provisions. Then immediately the follow-up question is, Saran, how do you prove me that this is not part of your sample? Okay, so when it comes to the examination of the auditors, this time they are asking you to keep what is the total outstanding percentage you examined. If you only keep one account, thinking that if I keep all the accounts, I'm committing that I looked into these accounts, then your sample percentage may go down. If you put so many accounts to make your sample bigger, to make your sample percentage bigger, that means you are taking the responsibility of all the accounts what you are mentioning. Okay, I don't think so. Here you need to only mention the accounts which are part of this. Also you need to mention the accounts where there is serious irregularity or serious adverse comments. Okay, this table is very important. It's a very simple table. In fact, you can just take here and you can start looking into all the accounts. So I can just look into this in this way. Let's say I've taken the samples. I've taken the samples, maybe some 35, 40 samples. Now let me just take all these samples. These all are maybe the samples. I can just keep here, and you can simply have the outstanding balance of all the samples. Then you can have a total of this. Then you can put all these accounts here where serious irregularity is there. Then that percentage you need to give here. Okay, as simple as it. But once you are done the audit, it's not that every account what you verified, because they are not asking you every account what you verified. They just asked you to mention list of the accounts examined for the audit. That's fine. But in this case, where there is a irregularity, otherwise these days it's not a manual audit, system audit. So I can take the raw data, almost like all the accounts I look into. Okay, at least the minimum validation controls. If that is the case, I can't fill the data everything here. So for which accounts you verified starting from the initial point till the end, probably you are going to keep all those accounts here. So this is first calculation we are going to do once we go to the audit. Then One more important thing, this time they mentioned here is the quick mortality. If you look here, the comment, have you come across the cases of quick mortality in accounts where the facility became non-performing within a period of 12 months from the date of first sanction? So probably this field from all the branches will go and sit, or maybe ROs wise or circle wise, then they're probably looking to when an account became NPA within 12 months. That means it's not about a borrower who has taken the account. Maybe in more cases, it is about the internal control issue. That means the credit department who sanctioned this loan, then they may have a doubt whether the internal control with respect to the credit department is great or not. Maybe to calculate for the management, including the RBI, this particular class they might have kept, and they are asking you to keep all those accounts. So let us see how you are going to report this. Friends, this is the large advance file. I'm going to use the same file. Friends, this is the last year file. So consider 31st March 2020 is our audit date. So here, let me take all the non-performing assets. You can take all the non-performing assets, just copy this data, or else, because they are only asking about the account number, account name, and balance as at the end of the year, right? So simply you can take, you can just take account number of this, and account name and customer ID, Control C. You can just keep it here, paste special values, and let me take the NPA date. I can just go here. I'm sure when it is a non-performing, NPA date must be there. 1 second. Is it not there? I think I've selected non-performing. Just give me 1 minute. There must be a column of the NPA. Yeah, date of NPA. I think for some of the accounts they are not mentioned. NPA date is this. So let me put this. It's already into loss account. So long back it became NPA. They're still showing it. Okay, in a normal cases when it is NPA, you can simply use a function besides the sanction date. Okay, let me put it this way. You can just put here. You can just put the NPA date. If you have NPA file, you can use a VLOOKUP function. Then you can start getting these values. Let me just for the time being. Okay, ignore this. I thought the NPA date was already there. You can just ignore. Just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to keep some of the dates which are belongs to the version. Let me keep 2018-11, 2020. Let me put it till 2/28. Okay, so this is a through VLOOKUP function. You can get it. You can simply use a function. First, let me filter for all NPA cases. Now you can have VLOOKUP function and you can get the NPA date. Then you can simply put this minus this. If it is greater than, copy paste, because it's in the date format, it is coming as a date. You can just put it into a general format. Then you can have a simple filter. If the filter is less than 365, then you may consider, okay, let's say this is the, you may consider these three accounts are having the, oh, I think other way around. 1 second. You can just take the NPA and this minus this. Okay, it is less than 365. Then you can put all those accounts which are part of the quick mortality. So let me take all the accounts less than 365. Yes, this is less than 365, and let's say this is approximately the same date. Okay, so I'm just changing the figures because the relevant data with respect to the NPA is not available. So you can simply take all these three accounts and you can put as a quick mortality related. You can delete the unnecessary columns, whatever not required to you. Let me just delete this and just copy this. pay special values, and you can either put this as an LFR point, or else you can just keep it as a working paper by just changing the sheet name. Then here you can put the table keeping as an annexure. You can make it as an annexure, maybe as a 2 or 3, whatever, based on that, if more accounts are there. So basically, besides the sanction date, you can simply put sanction date, then you can just put NPA date, then you put this minus this. The problem with the faculties, especially covering the Excel related audit in case of bank, is we can't use the complete data for which we have done the audit. When we try to fabricate the data, some of the dates may go here and there. So as long as you understand the concept, I'm happy. So you take the NPA date using the VLOOKUP from the NPA file, then you can put B minus A. Then if C is less than 365, those all accounts you just need to take and you should put under the LFR annexure, as simple as it. Now, if you look here, interest rate versus the accounts, let me look into this comment of 3. Yeah. Whether in borrower accounts, the applicable interest rate is correctly fed into the system. How do you know whether it has correctly fed into the system or not? You need to take the sample. Obviously, you need to go into the screen, and every account you should go and you can verify. But there is a method through which at least you can have a glance. Now, what I'll be doing, I'll simply make a pivot table with this data. As you all know how to make a pivot table, you can just select this data. Let me go here, select this entire data. Yeah, 1 second, let me remove this column. Select this entire data, go to the insert, click the pivot table. Let me click OK. Then I just want to know for a particular GL, or maybe for a particular, let me take the field list. Let me just drag this here. Okay, so you can just take the GL here. There are so many GLs. GL is nothing but the product type. If it is SBI, you will get the product name basically. Mine is BR12Y of Andhra Bank, so I get the GL code. As I said, using the trial balance, you can get the GL description also using the VLOOKUP function. But as of now, let this be as it is. Okay, each product is here. I want to know what is the rate of interest. So how to check it out? Let's say this is basically one personal loan for the professionals. For the professionals, ideally it has to be almost the same. Maybe based on the product to product, because in the banks, maybe at the higher level, it may be housing loan. Housing loan is different from person to person, but housing loan cannot be 2%, because it must be around 6% to 9% or 6% to 8% and so on. If the deviation is more, probably those all are the accounts you need to take further audit. So what I'll be doing now, let me take the rate of interest. I'll simply take it into the values here, but obviously it comes as a sum. As you all know, sum of all the rates doesn't have any meaning. So let me right click here. Let me summarize values by, let me take the minimum rate. That means out of this product, out of all the accounts in this product, 7.3% is the lowest rate. Now let me say, let me take the same rate of interest, right? Now let me take the right click, summarize values by max. That means there is one more account in this particular product, 11.5% is the rate of interest. Okay, now what I'll be doing, I'll simply go here, I will put the difference, this minus this. When there is a huge deviation, then probably, see, if you look here, this is absolutely fine. That means for all the customers in this product, there is no deviation. In this case also, for all the customers in this product, there is no deviation. But this, check it out, this 6.85 from the lowest rate of interest to the highest rate of interest. Then what you can simply do, you can just double click this particular 12.85, or else you can simply put the filter. Then you just go here, go to this, I can filter for this particular account. Then you just look for only performing assets. Then start looking into this, why there is a huge gap. Then let me go to the rate of interest. You can just check it out, why 6 is there. Okay, then you can take all these accounts and you can start looking into why there is a lot of gap with respect to the interest rate. May be correct, but we need to have a sample, and out of this you can take maybe 2 accounts. I mean, now itself I can just make a sampling. So you can just simply take a sample of it. What I'll be doing with this, I can just take a number of accounts also. How many accounts are there? Let's take here and put here. 1 second. Since already pivot table I kept here, I can have number of accounts here. So let's take account number here. I gonna keep the count. So you got here very simply this particular ledger having 22 accounts. I can make a working paper now. Let's have a sample of 3 accounts out of this ledger just to verify, because there is a difference of 4.2. Ask them to verify top, anyway bottom both, because highest rate as well as the lowest rate. Or else you can have a, this is a programming, it's not standard for every person. Maybe you can use the best standards. Why I'm saying you need to take the lowest 2 or 3, because if it is the highest 90%, it's okay. Revenue side, I don't think so anyone goes wrong, because customer is paying the money, he is always diligent. But when it comes to, let's say, a branch manager is having an intention to reduce the rate of interest, he go to the system. If he is having an authority to change at the back end the interest rate field, he'll simply change it, because he want to do an additional you want to give the additional advantage to the customer. If that is the case, you can have a sample working methodology. In these cases, bottom 2 accounts, maybe you can verify. So bottom 2 accounts or bottom 3 accounts you can verify. Here in this case, total 30 accounts are there. You can ask them to verify 2 accounts. Maybe in this only 4 are there, and also the difference is not very great. Maybe you can ignore this. You can again look into 2 accounts. You can just look here, maybe 2 accounts. This you can ignore. There is a huge difference, 9%, 15% rate is there, as well as 6% is there. There are 257 accounts are there. Okay, first check it out what type of loan it is, and in that loan, is it possible to have the spread is more from one customer to the other customer? Then you can have more number of accounts out of this. Maybe at the bottom you can see 3, on top you can see 3, total 6. In this case, maybe because the difference is not very huge, you can take 1, maybe 1. This you can ignore, otherwise you can keep it. In this case, again you can take maybe 5, because number of accounts are also more. In this case, maybe 1. In this case, maybe 1, maybe 1. The total number of accounts we are going to do the equal to sum is nothing but 1 working papers with respect to this. So you can simply ask your staff to take all these 26 accounts, and you can ask them to go to the CBS. You can ask them to take the branch manager system, ask them to open this file and check it out of starting from the first year. And also comparison is most important. I'm anyway going to cover why we need to take, instead of just the year-end report, but different quarters reports. Maybe because it is more of analysis. Once you have a data, you can just go on and you can do n number of analysis out of this. So what way I can do further analysis on this, if I have 4 quarters same loans file, then I'll take all these accounts, then I'll put quarter 1, what is the interest rate, quarter 2, what is the interest rate, quarter 3, what is the interest rate, and quarter 4, what is the interest rate. I'll just check it out, is there any deviation from first quarter to the second quarter. Maybe in case of floating rate, there may be a little difference, but you can just check it out whether it is correct or wrong. Sample, you can just ask your staff to go into the sampling method, use a sampling method, ask them to go into the CBS, open a particular account. I'm sure they can see what is the rate of interest fed into the system. Then you can just take a sanction letter and you can check it out whether it is the same as per the sanction limit or not, sanction letter or not, as simple as it. Maybe if you ask me this particular one, I can look in the same way. Whether the interest rate is reviewed periodically as per the guidance applicable with the floating rate, you can have a master data and you can verify this. Let's go into the next one. There is one question again. In cases examined by you, have you come across the instances where credit facilities having been sanctioned beyond the delegation authority or limit fixed for the branch? are such cases properly reported to the higher authorities? So how you are going to look into it? In case of BR12I file, we do have sanctioned authority here. Maybe this is having some code at the back end. You just need to ask the branch with respect to this code, what is the limit of the sanction? If you look into one of the sheet I have, this is the master data I have. Okay, so sanction authority code 1 is having a limit 75 lakhs, sanction authority 2 having a limit of 5 lakh, and so on. Okay, so what I'll be doing now in this case, I'll simply go to here. I just put the sanction limit. I can insert a column. I can just put limit for authority. Okay, you can just put whatever the meaning, sanction authority limit. Okay, what I can simply do, you can use a simple VLOOKUP function. As you all know, VLOOKUP function, this look into this table, get me the values from this table here. What is the lookup value? It is based on the sanctioning authority. Take this, you go to the sanctioning authority, then you can just take this table array. Lookup value is G2, table array is this one. Then you can just put F4. F4 is the shortcut to give the dollar signs, because even if I copy paste down, the data should not change. Then you can simply keep comma. Out of this table, my answer is there in the second column. So that is what you need to mention here. Column index number. Let me put 2 here, comma. Then approximate match or exact match. In this case, I want exactly match value with respect to the sanctioned authority. You just need to take false. Anyway, in Excel, false is nothing but 0. You can even put 0, enter. Check it out. Okay, so I have just looked into this value in this table and get the second column value as an answer. To make it more simple, what I can do, I can just give this table name as a sanction limit, sanction authority limit, enter. Okay, now what I'll be doing, I just go here. Instead of this, because it's little boring, I can just use the defined name sanction authority limit, just enter. You can copy this and you can paste, right? Then you can put one more column. What column I can put? Above limit or not? How do you know? Simple. My sanction limit must be less than the sanction authority. So let me use a simple if function. Okay, if my sanction authority limit is greater than this, there is no problem, right? So there is no problem in this case. That means within the limit. So you can ignore. So you can just put open double quote or close double quote. Otherwise, within limit, right? If not, that means if M2 is not greater than L2, that means M2 is less than or equal to L2, right? If that is the case, okay, in this case you can put not equal, greater than or equal to, because even if it is equal to, also within the limit. Okay, if not, then I want to tell the Excel, please give me above the limit, enter. In this case, it's within the limit because he's having an authority to sanction till 75 lakh. This is just a 5 lakh worth of loan, and you can just take all performing assets. Okay, and you can just drag this down, and this can be taken for the current year sanctions. Now check it out within limit. If you observe, everything is it within the limit? No, there is some place where it is out of the limit. There are cases where NA is there. Let us see why NA, because sanctioning authority is not there. Okay, that's fine. You can even mention if possible. Now what I'll be doing, let me put non-performing, only performing assets I want to look into. Then you can just go here above the limit, least bother. Maybe you can fill this information and you can get the data. Then I want only the above limit. See, in all these cases, okay, this is coming here. Now you can just ask the branch manager whether there is a proper reported to the higher authorities or not. If any reported, maybe through the email or maybe with the internal notes, you can simply take a snap of it, that email, or maybe you can take a soft copy, you can store it. Now, what I can simply do, I can just copy this and I can just go here. I can just make it as a page special values. There's gonna be the annexure 3 to me, and I can just put it here, reference number of LFR. This is gonna be the 5.c.I. Friends, along with your audits, your working papers must be completed. Don't sit separately and prepare the working papers. Now let me keep the sheet name as LFR 5C1 sanction authority limit. So that for a quick reference, this one is quick mortality case. Let me just go above. Right? So let's go down. You can do like that n number of stratifications. In fact, if you observe here, by using a pivot table, I just did this much analysis. Okay, this also you can make as one more sampling. Maybe I can just keep it as interest rate check. Okay, maybe you can call it as annexure 4, at least for you. Then all the accounts you can take and you can start keeping the comments. If possible, you can ask them to take a snap of it, and you can ask them to keep it into the Excel. These days, as you said, as I already mentioned, our phone is having a cam facility. You can simply take a snap of it. You can keep it in the phone. Then I don't know how many of you are using the cloud these days. You can simply upload all the images into the cloud of that particular folder of the branch. Then later you can ask staff to put the proper images at every case. Because in this case, it's not about the image, it is about the analysis. But in this case, have you checked in the system? Have the branch manager fed into the system correctly? If that is the case, tomorrow, if an authority comes and asks you the question, sir, at that point of time, I verified into the system and it was correct. What is the proof? So you better ask them to take a snap of it. These all things looks like you may be thinking, who will do 26 accounts in the system? It looks like number is big, but let me tell you, if as an activity you do with the procedure, this will not even take more than 1 hour. Every account may say 2 minutes, more than 1 hour it will not take, including taking a snap of it and keeping into the Excel. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so this is another annexure. You can just keep all these annexures. See how working papers are preparing automatically. Check it out. This is the master data of sanction. Okay, this is the loan file CCOD. This is the sanction authority master data. Then this is what the large advances, what I need to mention in the LFR, quick mortality. This is the interest rate check, and this is the sanction authority verification, and so on. Now, customer ID versus the account ID. Do you think can you get any inferences out of analyzing the customer ID? Of course, yes. Because as for the prudential norms, if you look into the master circular of prudential norms on IRAC, it mentioned that if one account becomes NPA, all facilities for that particular customers automatically become NPA. That is for one reason. The customer ID and account ID mapping is required. The second very important thing is there may be a chance, especially in case of, let's say, 2 facilities are there for a particular customer. One is CCOD file, the other one is the term loan file. He has taken one more term loan. So CCOD is basically he need to serve the interest every time, every month. In case of term loan, he need to pay. In case of term loan, he need to pay the interest and principal, that is a EMI. Maybe if the funds are very limited, so what he do, let's say the income is not there, or maybe he's not having any additional funds, simply from the CC account, he will just forward every month to the term loan account. So ideally CC account cannot be used for any other purpose other than for the regular business purpose. So to analyze those type of things, customer ID and account ID, just to have a glance, because a particular branch maximum you may have 4 to 5 customers where you need to deal very carefully. Otherwise 90% of the customers deal very diligently with the bank, and especially with my experience, every year our firm is into the level 1, and we get one branch at least more than 500 crores, and one branch maybe into 100 to 200 crores, one branch below 100 crore. If you go to below 100 crore, or sometimes 100 to 200 crore in between, that may be very rural branch. But if you ask them, out of the entire branch exposure, 90% is SHGs. So in case of SHGs, even in fact one analysis is there in the public domain. The NPA rate is very nominal compared to the other products. Okay, so in those cases, maybe looking into the 10 to 15 accounts, you can get the comfort. So let me tell you, 90% of the cases you may not have any problem. Maybe the top 10 customers are the customer who is having a very great rapport with the bank. The customer himself is having 4 facilities. Then those all are the one you must be very careful, because if a customer is taking one facility and everything is going very well by just looking into the bank statement, you may get a understanding that okay, he is a genuine customer. But a person is having 3 facilities, 4 facilities, then you need to have a little more cautious while analyzing the bank statement or whatever the account statement. So in this case, I can do a simple stratification. I can just go to the insert. Let me go to the pivot table. Friends, pivot table is the one, if you know it, if you know how to play with the pivot table, that itself will give you a lot of inferences about your data. Let me just click OK. What I'll be doing, I'll simply take the customer ID. So where is the customer ID? This is the customer ID. You can put into the row label, and I want to take account number. You can just keep the account number in the value label. By default, it has anywhere taken the count. Now you can also take the outstanding, so that you'll get to know whether it is real, because one customer might have taken 5 facilities. If you look into the total outstanding itself is not even maybe 1 lakh, then probably you can ignore. You need not to waste the time looking into all the 5 facilities to verify and so on. Then you can just take this, because anyway demand loans are very less. Now in this case, you can just check it out this. Now what I'll be doing, I want to give the filter, I want to give the sort of top to bottom. So you can just go here and you can just go to sort. I can just okay, not this one. I just want to go into account wise. 1 second. Okay, you can just click the sorting. So you got from top to bottom. See, this particular customer ID got 4 accounts, but if you look into the total outstanding of all the 4 accounts. But let me also tell you one more fact. Many a times when you have 4 accounts, 5 accounts, majority may be the staff accounts, because staff almost claim everything, whatever the loan, special loans which they get, including the festival loan, X loan, Y loan, almost loans they get it. So that may be a chance, but if the amount is very low, then probably you may think that it's a staff account. Otherwise you can simply take this particular customer ID, go to here, the loans, then you can filter it, then you'll get to know whether it's a staff account or not. But I'm more interested on this part. Now let me have, or else let me filter this one than a layer one. 1 second. This one, right? See, this outstanding is okay. Probably if I do the audit of this, I may look into this. I can ask my staff to look into these items. Then I can ask my staff also to look into these items. Okay, look into this. And I may even look into this. See, by looking into this, almost like I'm covering a bigger portfolio. It's not a very small portfolio, almost like 10 crore I'm covering, right? You can take in this way one sample. The other case is, now you can have the sort again with this. Now I can have a sorting of this. Now you can take, because 4 facilities are there, maybe you can ask your staff to look into this, and you can also ask them to look into this, because it's 27 lakhs. It's not the small amount. Then you can also look your staff into this. I think fair enough. So this is fine. Maybe out of wherever 2 are there, you can just go through that. Even this one also you can ask. So you can take every account of this, then you can just put here as an annexure. So I can just simply make your this is more okay. Cust ID versus the account ID, right? So now what I'll be doing very quickly, only one account I'll take it, not more. I'll just take this customer ID. I can just go here. I can just go to the customer ID. Let me just do Control V. The very important thing is whether is there any performing or non-performing. So let me do this with more analysis. I can have one more field here so that there itself we can see whether it's a performing or non-performing. Maybe with this, okay. Yeah, otherwise, okay, let me keep this here. Let me give you, okay, it's giving me the count of how many items. So it's obvious, right? Because I'm trying to take 4 accounts. So obviously 4 performing or non-performing will come. What I'll be doing, just give me 1 minute. I'll just take this and I'll keep it here. Wow, this is wonderful. So if you look here, in this case, this is performing and performing. Where you have this is performing, this may be non-performing. If that combination is there, then you can look here. Check it out. These both, this is non-performing, all are performing. Maybe at one instance, for example, a particular account, this is a non-performing asset. For example, then you can just go here, refresh this data. Let me right click and refresh the data. Check it out. Same account has performing as well as non-performing. So your account, in this case, it must be either this side or this side. Wherever the case, both are there. Then you can immediately go and make this NPA, because if one account becomes NPA, all other has to become NPA automatically, as simple as it, right? So for that reason also this is most important, and also for the reason now I can, let's say this is performing. In fact, I have changed it. You can just simply copy this and you can just go and paste here. You can put the staff name who has to look into the same. This is annexure 4 and this you can keep it as an annexure 5. You can just go to the system, start looking into this and go to all the ledger accounts of this, and if you find any adverse thing, then you can start commenting here. Okay, you can make for every account and every annexure, at the end you can put remarks, and also at the end you can put the staff name. So staff and what remarks they have given, because we must know which staff has done what type of activity. And wherever it is applicable, you can also put what is the screenshot. As you all know, any screenshot we can keep it in a simple image format. For example, as I mentioned here, the interest sample. Let's say, for example, they were looking into 3 particular accounts. Now, let me take this. Let me just go to the loans. Friends, the entire job of audit, at least one day, if you play with the pivot tables and filters, I think most of the work you can complete. Let me just put here. Okay, what is this? This is a ledger account, right? I'm sorry. Let's go here, put the ledger account, and in that, the bottom 3 interest rates I want to take. So where is the interest rate? Yeah, this is rate of interest. You can just go to the bottom 1, 2, 3. I want to take, because top 11.5 is there. I want to take all these 3. Then you can simply take this and you can just keep this below this. Copy paste special values. Then you can, for example, this is the staff name I'm keeping, then this is the remarks I kept, and this is the attachment I can keep. So how can you keep the attachment? It's very simple. You can just go to the insert, you can go to the, 1 second, there must be an object. Go to the object, then you can check it out whether it's a PDF or image or whatever it is. In this case it's a PDF, let's say. Then you just go here, you can just browse it. I want to take one PDF, whatever it is, take it. I want to display just as a small icon. Let's click OK. Then you can make it small. Yeah, right. So let me save this file. Let me close it. Let me just close this. Now when I just open this file, even after 5 years, 10 years, when I want to look into this particular case, I can simply double click this. Once I double click this, can start the source application. One second, just 1 second. When I just start,
Yeah, double click this. Are you finding your one PDF got opened? It has to open. Yeah, this is the file. Let me close this, and to prove this again, this is working. Let me double click this, and you got a file got opened. So for every account, wherever it is applicable, in fact, whatever the samples they take it, for every account, if they want, they can make it. It is about how much effort they keep, how much effort you keep once you go to the bank audit. As simple as it. And take the snaps as many as you can, because it is after all our phone. So even if you take 200 snaps also, that may not be even 100 MB. So you take the snap, then you get all the snaps maybe after the audit. Let's say every day we are closing by evening 7 o'clock or 7:30. Once we come back, because at the audit time, after the office hours also we need to work, as you all know. So once we come back, then we can segregate all these images, and you can keep the respective images and so on. Even after 10 years, if anyone asks me, let's say if someone asks me and states that, okay, Mr. Saran, in this case, there is an interest the branch manager intentionally reduced, but why you did not verify? Then I can simply just go and open this file. I verified this, but at that point of time, this is what the sanction letter they have given it to me. There the interest rate is X, and this is what the screenshot I have taken. There the interest rate is same X. So I think from my end, everything is fine. As simple as it. So this is, as I already mentioned, the sanction authority. One second. What is this? Yeah, this is actually the customer ID versus the customer ID versus the account related. Now what I'll be doing, I'll just keep this one besides this sheet. Friends, I'm just trying to keep including the working papers here itself versus account ID. This is a summary, right? Just for the verification. From the summary, I got, you can put all the accounts here, as simple as it. Okay, so these all are fine. Anyway, we'll go into all these now. But when these are, everything is fine, when the data which comes to me in a proper shape like this, okay, if the data is not coming into a proper shape, so it is obvious you can't do the analysis. But let me tell you, my friends, the data generally how it looks like, you know, when it comes to the data, if you are into the SBI, you'll have SA1 files which are like this. I feel this is most complex to do the text to column. Then you may find the file like this. So manually, by just looking into this file, it is almost impossible to you. Or maybe if it is into the State Bank of India, you'll find the NPA files like this. So you can even have unrecovered interest or not. This is also anyway I'm going to cover. In case of, let's say you found a couple of NPAs, you found a couple of accounts as an NPA, then how you are going to put the MOC? So it is as simple as it. If you ask me, MOC is not a very tough thing. For our client in our office, for any stat audit or any of the statutory audit or cases where we prepare the financial statements, we post the adjustment journal entries at the end of the trial balance, right? So you will have the trial balance, debit balance, credit balance, and closing balance. Then we'll put two more columns, adjustment debit, adjustment credit, then closing balance. So after the adjustments, but the only difference which you ask me between the audits, what we generally do, and the audit of bank is, in our case of the private companies, including after the adjustments, they'll post the entries, then the final trial balance will come. Okay, maybe at the time of you before audit report, we make sure that the trial balance is in such a way after the adjustments. But in case of the bank, they prepare as on 31st March the balance sheet and P&L, every branch at the branch level. You are not allowed to directly go and ask them to post the entry for the NPA. That's not possible. That's the reason they are giving you the MOC. What you need to do, they already closed the books of accounts as on 31st March 2021. When you found that there is an adjustment to be done, when there is a you found NPA, that's for 10 accounts. For all these 10 accounts, what is the unrealized interest? As you all know, once the interest debited into the customer account, that automatically capitalized into the particular asset. Whatever the asset total, what you have, the outstanding balance, what you have, that includes the interest due, as you all know. So if that is the case, I need to go into the system
If already the reports which are available like this, I can simply take the total. I can take the sample out of this. I will go to the system whether this figure is correct or wrong. But in case of this report is not available, then you have to calculate, you have to go to the system. You should make sure that what is the unrealized interest as on 31st March 2021, then you should make a total of it. Then you should put the entry, as simple as it. MOCs are basically into different formats, bank to bank, but the content is same. Maybe the formatting somewhere in the vertical format, somewhere in the horizontal format, somewhere in a different format, but the content has to be same. Basically in the MOC, there are basically three types of MOC we do have. One is anything which affect the balance sheet and P&L, balance sheet, assets and liabilities, anything which affects the profit and loss account, income or expense. In this case, for example, in case of unrealized interest, this might have already accrued into the system. What I need to do now, I should go to the income, I should reduce this balance. So I need to go into the GL number and I should put the GL number. What is the GL account? Then instead of credit, I should put a debit there. Then the other leg must be, when you need to reduce the other leg, very simple. You need to reduce the other leg into the asset side because this might have already capitalized into the asset. So what I need to do, I need to take that particular CC account or term loan account. Then I have to reduce this figure. Since asset is already a debit, I need to make it as a credit. So in the MOC, all the debits and credits has to match. Otherwise, if you put debit and credit into the minus, the total of the MOC must be zero. Generally, some of the people, they keep it into one column, debits in the positive, credits in the negative. Some of the people, they keep debit in the one column, credit in the one column. If the second case, debit column, credit column has to match. In the first case, the total has to be zero. And MOC may come in the other situations. You know where? Can anyone tell? The situation where it's already NPA, but the classification is different. As you all know, in case of erosion in the security value, let's say, okay, let me go into the Excel itself. If you see here, the problem here with the entire files are, even if you take from the branch, they don't keep the proper data into the system. Why they don't keep the data into the system? Because if they keep the data into the system, then in the system there are logics which will execute every day, and based on the logics, if it has to become NPA, system will make it as an NPA. To avoid the situations, what most of the people does, they don't keep the inputs properly. So very few branches where if you download the report, all the columns got filled with the data. Otherwise, 90% of the cases in the branches, you will not have the data properly filled. Otherwise, in case of CCDP file, in case of BR12Y file, this is actually from the BR12Y file. It is having almost like 40 columns. Every damn small information is here. If this information they properly keep, then I'm sure we need not to even go any physical thing. Automatically, system will do the NPA. Because they don't keep the information. Now let me go here. The security value is there. This is a primary security value. Was there any valuation date here? Let us see. There must be a valuation date. Okay, 1 second. I'm just trying to see date of documents. Even if it is there, I doubt whether they keep the date. The secured portion in collateral security value, primary date value. Primary date of valuation. Yeah, I think this is the valuation date. So this is a primary value and date of valuation. So as you all know, as per the RBI, if any account is more than 5 crore, that has to be valued. If it becomes NPA, every once in 3 years from a proper valuer, and the stock audit has to be done every year. So if the data filled properly, you can just filter it. Otherwise, you can have the recent related data. I was talking about the erosion of value, right? So you can simply take erosion of value, maybe within the limit. I'm just talking about the case if it is within the limit, because in some of the peculiar cases this may happen. Example, okay, not to just go in a negative side. Let's say, for example, one customer has taken the loan, keeping security the lands at Amaravati. Okay, just as an example, don't take it very seriously. Security the land at Amaravati. Let's say he has taken the loan of 1 crore rupees, and the bank valued the security is 2 crore rupees. Wonderful. 50% is the one. In fact, almost double security they have taken. Now, if you are the person looking into that, that is within the limit and everything is fine. Now, recently, let's say one valuation report you found, maybe done by the bank or recent RBI inspection. Any of these two cases, if any valuation happen, you take the valuation. You check it out. What is the value as on the date? If the value, the realizable value erosion greater than 50%, okay, from the security value, let's say earlier it was 2 crore, right? Now it becomes 1 crore, less than 1 crore. Then straight away you have to take that into the doubtful assets, as simple as it, for which even Excel calculation is not required. If it is there already into Excel, then you can just start looking into. That's the reason I asked you to compare the reports. Last year take the balance report, this year you take the balance, you compare. If at all valuation is available in both the places, you can just check it out. Let's say valuation data is available in the last year report. This year report also for that particular facility valuation is available. You can simply put this minus this. If the difference is more than 50%, then you can straight away take that into the doubtful assets. Let's say if the erosion of value, if the erosion is less than 10% of the outstanding value, then straight away that is a loss asset, as we all know that. Okay, that's the reason. Okay, you need to look into every column into the data. Otherwise, if you take the manual files, it is very much impossible. Very much impossible. Okay, in this case, whenever in case of NPA, you can calculate each and everything if the data is available. Let's say these all are NPA, right? In case of NPA, you can check it out here. Any unsecured portion is there, then based on the RBI provisioning, this everything is the unsecured provision. Just go and check it out whether for the entire unsecured, if it is into the doubtful, 100% provision they have created or not. Okay, if it is a secured provision, this total has to exactly match. There is no doubt, no deviation with respect to the provisioning. Let's say I was just talking about the MOC related, right? In fact, there where we disconnected. It was already NPA, or it's not NPA, but because of the security erosion, then you need to check it out the classification. Because of the classification from one bucket to the other bucket, the provisioning may change. Because the provisioning may change, the PNL impacts. So you need to again put MOC, maybe reducing the income value and debiting the creating the asset value, as simple as it. In that particular case also, we need to keep the MOC. That's fine. So I'm just trying to tell you how stratifications are helpful. Let me save this file. Let me close this file. Now, what I'll do, text files, these all are different type of text files. Let me show you just for the class, whoever not familiar with the Andhra Bank. Now I don't know, because Andhra Bank merged with the Union Bank, whether they follow the same BR12Y files or not. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just show you. This is just for the class purpose, friends. Sometimes I may show the real files, but again, this is just for the benefit of all the members. 1 second. If you know one file, how to make it, all of the files you can do in the same way, right? So let's just go here, and these all are different files. 90% of the cases, if it is a small branch, only OD will be there and term loan will be there. We just take the term loan. Converting this file into Excel gonna be very difficult, because okay, let me go here, let me go a little down. I should not ideally show the real file, just for the benefit of the class. This file is having one column, second column, third column, fourth column, and so on. 44 columns are there. if you can convert this file properly into the Excel, and if you spend maybe half a day time using the pivot tables, using the filters, using the sorting, I can say 80% of your audit is over. Maybe you just directly go into the branch, you directly ask the data what is required, because everything is almost ready here. So, and also these days, earlier days, they were very much rigidness with respect to the branch manager in sharing the data. Now, almost the branches, they are okay to share the data. And also, please don't ask me the question, Sharon, how to get the data from the branch manager. I'm not the right person to answer, because I always feel getting the data from the branch manager just as an art than a science. Okay, there is no standard rule that this is the way you should ask. At this is the RBI circular which is saying that they have to share the data. No. So that is just as an art, how you go ahead with the branch manager in the communication, how cordial you are with the other person, and a lot of other factors are involved. But let me tell you, I am doing the audit for the last 4 or 5 years. Okay, very rigidly, very specifically each and every branch. Every time, whenever I'm getting the, every time, every branch manager is sharing the information with me. If you ask, okay, earlier I was into the other firm, I can't share the data, but in this firm we are working for the last 4 years. Even you go to anywhere, the data is available. All the text files have to be there. Check it out. All the text files are there. Once the text files are there, then you can just convert into the Excel and your job is done. Till now, I did not go into how to convert the unstructured data into the structured data. But before going into that,
Sir.
Next year, okay, this year, identification of NPA, going into the system and so on.
Saran, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Sir, can
Yes,
we
sir.
break 5 to 10 minutes, just 5 minutes?
No worries,
Or
sir.
I will continue.
No,
How
no,
you are comfortable, sir?
I am much more comfortable, but if let other members take a break. Okay, we can take maybe 5 minutes, sir.
For
That's
5
fine.
minutes, sir. Just 5 minutes. Yeah.
No, can you put a message like 5 minutes break? Scroll is not possible, is it?
Dear members, just we can break just 5 minutes, then we will continue.
It's already 33, the 2 minutes, 2 minutes, make it 40. It's so tight.
Sir, I didn't ask you in between whether my voice is clear and the screen is visible. I didn't ask. I just
Yes, sir.
went on.
Yes, sir.
Everything is
Good. Good, sir.
good. No issues.
Yeah.
No issues.
Great, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm ready, sir.
Yes, sir. We can start, sir.
Yeah, friends, welcome back from the quick break. Yeah. Let me open one RBI material before going into the Excel. I'm sure this may be positive for us. The one which I'm going to show it to you. I was just talking about whenever we go to bank, any branch. So obviously there will be a discussion with respect to the NPA. So majority of the branch manager always says that, sir, what you can check it out. Everything in the system is automatic, right? For the last 3 years, I'm sharing the material with respect to the SPI internal document with everyone. Considering this, in fact, I got so many calls at the time of audit also. They successfully argued with the branch manager stating that it will not happen automatically. There is a manual interruption. Okay, this I have shown last year, before last year, even before last year. I feel there is even a relevance to show you all even today. This is an internal document of RBI. Banks 24 is the CBS they use, as you all know. If you read this document, you will get a lot of understanding with respect to the NPA classification in the CBS, how they do, including the operating side of the branch staff. If you look here, as you all know, SMAs are basically three: SMA 0, SMA 1, and SMA 2. This time, in fact, in the LFR, they ask us to comment even on the SMA also, special mentioned account. Yeah, check it out. This is one of the comment which is most important. Whether the branch is following the system of classifying the account into SMA 0, SMA 1, and SMA 2. As you all know, SMA 0 is 1 if the irregularity are due or out of order is between 0 to 30 days, we call it as a SMA 0. What fit into SMA 1? SMA 1 is nothing but 30 to 60 days. If the irregularity further continue another 30 days, that will be into SMA 2. You must be very careful looking into the SMA 2 accounts. See, if your file is already having a column identifying whether it is SMA 0 or SMA 1 or SMA 2, you know, I'll take more samples out of the accounts which fall under SMA 2, because these all may soon turn as a NPA. I must be very careful. That means the health of these accounts are deteriorating, as simple as it. Then I may take little sample with respect to SMA 1. I may take very few samples with respect to SMA 0. So whether the auditor disagrees with the branch classification of advances into the standard, substandard, doubtful assets, the details of such advances with the reason should be given. So this is with respect to, if you identify something as an NPA or not even NPA, 0, 1, 2, if any of the SMA related disagreement is there, then probably you need to comment upon, right? Example, I'll just give you one example. It may be NP, it's not an NPA, it's a standard, but at the back end in the system, all are showing SMA 0. Okay, all are showing SMA 0. But when you look into the overdue, some of the accounts are more than 30 days and some of the accounts are more than 60 days. You are having anyway the last overdue since, then you have as on 31st March, you can simply put 31st March minus overdue date, then you have the number of days. You can simply put a if function. If this is between if the difference between these two dates
is 0 to 30, then SMA 0. If not, SMA 1. If it is greater than 60, SMA 2. Let's just drag it down. Then already they have given one column. Then you can compare these two. If any of those accounts are not properly identified, are not properly classified, then you can mention as an annexure here. As simple as that. Okay. This is with respect to the SMA related. Let me read out this. This is the risk grade in the bank they mentioned for their understanding in the bank's 24 software. So 00 is a standard asset, 01 is greater than 70 and less than 30, 02 is 30 to 60 days. This SMA, actually this is other way around. If you look at the SMA language, this is SMA 0, this is SMA 1, SMA 2, then 04 is substandard asset, then 5 is doubtful, less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, and greater than 3 years. 8 is the loss asset, as simple as it. So system for all the CBS is very vibrant. So we cannot doubt about the CBS. So obviously those all are the bigger applications. Proper logics are there. If you look into this entire document, you will get to know how they are tracking the NPA. Various arrear conditions that make a loan account slip from the status of standard asset are tracked in the bank's 24. Based on what? Based on the conditions, it will slip from the standard to the NPA. These are all called as the arrear conditions. In other words, all NPA business rules are defined in the system at every risk grade of the CC account, OD accounts, demand loans, term loans, and so on. Example they have given, you can just start looking into that. I'm not going much deeper inside. This is the one which is very important. I don't know, someone prepared one tool and one PPT is going on everywhere. That Saran, is it your tool? One PPT is going on as a utility for the SBI statutory auditors. I said it's not my utility. In that PPT also, this is the slide they have taken from this PPT. This is the arrear condition for them to identify easily. Whoever in the SBI panel, you will have one column in the CCDP file. You can just filter this. Based on that, you will get to know whether it's a EMI overdue from 7 to 29 days, EMI overdue greater than 30 days, 2 EMIs are overdue, or 3 EMIs are overdue. Okay, and so on. Then if it is 6 series, then it's the interest not served 7 to 29 days, greater than 30 days, and so on. You can check it out. See, the same logic can be used even for other banks also, because procedure is the procedure for every bank. So you can take the same thing. You can use these many filters into your loan balance files and CCOD files. Based on the above, system will give you the arrear condition. Based on the arrear condition, the NPA processing will happen. I'll not take much time. Whoever attended my earlier sessions, I read it earlier, but still I feel this is most important. Each and every loan account is processed by the system during the end of the day process for deciding the NPA status. That means NPA process every day and it happens. The arrear condition and the arrear action explained earlier are used by the system in determining the risk grade of the account. The risk grade thus decided by the system is called as a new IRAC status. I'll not take much time. Just let me show you here. This requires a confirmation from the operating staff. Right? Are you finding here? So that means everyday operating staff has to go and confirm the risk grade. Based on the risk grade, that will go into the new IRAC status. Old IRAC status is the real IRAC status of the loan account. The new IRAC status is confirmed by the system at the time of NPA stamping or by the user anytime during the year. The confirmed status is reflected under old IRAC status. Therefore, for all practical purposes of finding the NPA status of an account, the user has to refer this field. So my only point I'm trying to tell here, at the back end, NPA process is not automatic. Maybe the logics were already built in the system. See, obviously, when you put an input, system will execute all the logics and final NPA will happen automatically. But input itself I am not giving. So if you observe here, operating staff has to confirm the risk grade. That means I don't want a particular item should slip into the NPA. So what I'll do as an operating staff, I'll not do my job. If I'm not doing that job, that will never become an NPA, as simple as it. This is one proof to the branch managers. One more proof, much more bigger than this, RBI itself very recently confirmed stating that, I don't know how many of you read this circular, September 14th of 2020, very recent circular, less than 6 months. Have a look. Automation of income recognition, asset classification, and provisioning process in banks. Okay, these all are fine. Let me read here. In terms of which banks are advised inter alia to have appropriate IT system for place of identification of non-performing asset and generation of related data returns, both for regulatory reporting as well as for the bank's own MIS reports. It is, however, observed that, please concentrate from here till here, the most important one which I am showing it to you. It is, however, observed that the processes for NPA identification, income recognition, provisioning, generation of related returns in many banks are not yet fully automated. Banks are still found to be resorting to manual identification of NPA and also overriding the system generated classification by manual intervention in the routine manner. This I did not tell, RBI told on September 14th. Then also RBI has given a clear deadline to everyone, stating that in order to ensure the completeness and the integrity of automated asset classification, provisioning classification, calculation, and income recognition process, banks are advised to put in place and upgrade their system to conform to the following guidelines by July 31st. All borrower accounts, including the temporary OD, irrespective of the size, sector, types of limits, shall be covered in the automated IT-based system for asset classification for upgradation and provisioning process. Banks' investments shall be covered under the system. Okay, so what RBI is saying, by 30th July, every bank CBS must be automated, must have a procedure with respect to the IRAC. It includes the asset classification and revenue recognition, right? Everything has to be automatic procedure, as simple as it. So if really this happens, obviously this will happen because now it's a deadline. Banks cannot say, I'll not do this. In fact, if you go and start reading it, if you have an interest, in fact, I read this entire thing. Banks said, we are going to take very serious action for all those banks who are not following this. And also banks has given some exceptions to the automated path. In fact, banks also given what must be the logic at the bank. So that also make, when there is an exception, it must be fully automated and stored without any truncation. That includes the timestamp, log files has to be maintained, the narration has to be maintained, and so on. Just go down and you can start looking into the same. There is a exception to this. What they are saying, if any of the exception cases, that must be taken the approval from very higher level at the director level. So if let's say this, I'm sure this will happen by next, this coming 30th in next 3 months. If this happen next year, I feel 80% of our job recognizing through the system eliminated, because proper input has to be kept. They can't say they are not going to keep it, because when there is a security value, they have to keep it. When there is a stock, last stock statement date, they have to keep it. Otherwise, system will not calculate automatically. And also, they clearly mentioned in this circular that it's not the branch manager or anyone who can go on back and change the validation controls. If such case, log has to be maintained, and every staff who are going back and changing the logics, they are going to take action on them. That is what they clearly mentioned. So for the next year, at least let us hope that this will be implemented. If this get implemented, they have to key the proper data into the system. They include said it's not just the downgradation, downgrade as well as the upgrade, as well as the classification, as well as the provisioning, as well as the income recognition. Everything has to be through system. So next year, I feel at least 60% of our job got eliminated. Maybe in the other way around, I'm just trying to connect the dots. Because they're having this intention, they kept this circular. And if this happens automatically in the system, what is the auditor's role? Maybe that's the reason they changed the new LFR and they kept so many points we need to look into than just looking into a single account in the system wise. you need to look into so many parameters. Okay, this is just my observation. Maybe you may I agree or not, but I'm just trying to look into different circulars. I'm just trying to connect the different dots, as simple as it. So you can just give your branch manager, whoever says that everything is automated, you can just throw this circular, show this circular to them, and I'm sure they may agree that it's not automated process. Now let me just close this. I'll just go into the text to column now. Okay, this time I kept it as a second part because every time we are just spending more time on the text to column than spending real time with respect to the other items because of the time. Now let us go much proper way. First, I'll take a couple of small examples. Single file, how you need to do the text to column, how you need to clean up the data. Then we'll go into the files like SA1, as simple as it. Now what I will do, I'll just take this loan balance file. Let me open this file. As you all know, this is a text file. Let me tell you, your text files are basically two types. One is a delimited file. The other one is fixed width. Where people use the delimited file, you know, where there is no obligation for them to print the same on the paper. Then generally it is there in the delimited format. So at the database in the backend that comes in a comma separated value that goes into n number of columns. When they use the fixed width, you know, when there is a standard format for them to print the data, then it's a fixed width. That means while designing the report itself, at the backend, they understand that this has to be printed on the A4 size paper, either in the portrait or in the landscape. Again, based on the portrait landscape, they do the change. So they decide before even generating and designing this report, because A4 size paper throughout the world, same width, fixed width. So you take any legal paper throughout the world, fixed width. You take portrait of A4 throughout the world, fixed width. The width will not change. So whenever you find a fixed width file, that means this is meant for taking a print on the paper. In this case, it's a fixed width because if you observe, exactly it started and ending properly. Some of the files, just for your example, let me show you what are not the fixed width, though this is not relating to this, because just I'm talking here, just give me 1 second, maybe just to show you as an example. Yeah, you take any of the CSV file, this is a different data, not relating to us. If you take any CSV data, this one, this is actually not a fixed width. This is not exactly at a, you know, having the same width for every column. It's a comma separated value basically. So these all are the files CSV, but in the bank audit, 90% of the cases, the files which we deal are the fixed width files. Okay, so let me take the loan balance file. It's already opened. To select this entire file, let me do Control A. Let me do Control C. Right? I hope all are following me. Then Control A, Control C. Let me open my Excel file. Right? Let me do Control V. Standard steps. Okay. This will not come into a single column. Sorry, this will not come into so many columns because this everything is belongs to one column. Here, let me give you one small tip. Let me save the, sorry, without saving, let me close this file. Very important tip. Friends, at the back end, is there any Excel file open? No. When I open this file, when I open Excel, my application is loading, as well as of now only application got loaded. No workbook is available. Once I double click this, one workbook got opened. At the back end, application is still there. The advantage of opening an application is many a times it remember what the steps you are doing. Example is, now let me open this. Just as an example, a small tip. I'll tell you where this is helpful to you. 1 second. Sorry. Yeah. Let's say there is one file. I know that there's a text to column. I can simply copy this file, paste here. I need to do the text to column. What I generally do, I'll go to the data tab. I'll go to text to column. Then you can go to the delimited, click next. It's not a space, it's a comma as a delimiter. Then you can just click finish. Then automatically the text column happened. Now let me insert the next sheet. Let me go to the second file, this file. This is also comma separated value. I want to do the text column. What I can do, Control A, Control C. If you go here, if I do Control V, do you think text column will happen automatically, or I may need to do it again? Let me do Control V. Wow, everything happened at the back end automatically. Okay, even you take n number of files having the same in the nature of delimiter. Let me do Control C. Let me go back here, and if I do Control V, the text to column automatically. Now what I do, let me close this without saving this. Now if I open one more Excel, if you observe at the back end, my application is still running. I just closed the window. Let me open one more my blank Excel. Now I'll just copy this file, Control C. Now if I go and do the Control V, do you think the text column will happen automatically? Though I closed the earlier file, let me do Control V. Of course, it has happened automatically. But Sharon, you closed the earlier file, but still it is remembering? Yes. Whatever the text column I have done, my Excel application is remembering the same at the back end in the cache memory. Unless I close this application, the same delimiter text column stored at the back end, next time whenever you do that, you just copy paste the data, it automatically does the job for you. Now what I'm going to do, close this entire Excel workbook, including the application. Now let me go here. Now let me open the Excel file. Now let me open this. Now when I just go here, Control A, Control C, do you think text column will happen automatically? No, not possible. Because last time I did the text column, I closed the entire application. Now new application I opened, my last time cache memory got erased, and again I need to do the text column. Why I'm covering this? Because as an auditor, not just the data at the year end you need to take, you need to also take the data period wise. Period wise includes last year end, whatever the reports you ask for. You need to ask for last year end, what is the report as on the 31st March 2020, and quarter end, first quarter end, 30th June, what is the data, then 30th September, what is the data, then 31st December, what is the data, then you have 5 reports. But doing the same job of text column for all the 5 reports, obviously monotonous. That's the reason this is most important. Okay, so if you open an application at the back end, if it is a delimiter properly, if you can simply copy and paste, automatically it happens. I don't know whether all the banks are still asking the branch auditors to do the tax audit. I'm into the Andhra Bank panel last year. Now that will be into Union Banks. I'm not sure whether we need to perform the tax audit or not. But for the last 3 years, tax audits are not done by the branch auditors. They are appointing other auditors, or even central statutory auditors are doing for some of the branches. But if you are doing branch audit also for those people, then you need to look into many things, because you are going to certify the tax audit report. If that is the case, let's say TDS is one important thing which I need to look into. You can't just take the TDS as on 31st March. Every month end TDS, you have to take the file. If that is the file, if you get 12 months file, the text files, doing a text column of all the 12 months will definitely take, even one file takes 10 minutes. 10 into 12 months is 120 minutes, more than 2 hours it takes. If that is the case, you can use the same technique. First time you do it at the back end in the application, next time that happens automatically, but this is only for the delimited cases. Okay, now let me do Control N. Now let me go to the loan balance. Let me close this. These all files are not required for us. This is not related to Excel. Bank audit, these all are different files. Our file is actually here. Yeah, let me do Control A, Control C. Let me go here, Control V. Now what I'm going to do, I will do the text to column. So how to do the text to column? It's going to be very simple. Select this data, select this column, go to the data, go to text to column. In this case, it's not a delimited. In this case, it's a fixed rate. Now go to the next. The biggest disadvantage of this text to column pop-up is you can't increase the pop-up. Generally, when any pop-up comes, you can increase it, but you can't increase this. That is the biggest problem. So the preview is very small. I have given so many times the suggestions, mails also to the Microsoft regarding the same, because Microsoft having their own portal where you can go and give a suggestion based on the people's suggestion. They may consider and they give us back that particular feature in the next version. But with respect to this, I sent so many times but no response. But anyway, that's fine. So before doing a text to column, you must need to understand, though it's a text to column, some of the characteristics are there for the columns. If it is a number, 99% of the cases it aligns it towards the right side. If it is a text in the report, 99% of the cases it aligns towards the left side. Okay, so in this case it's a number, account number. Then because my left, even I can keep till here, there's no problem, because I'm 100% sure my column will not go before this, because this is a text, it always starts from the left side. But when it is a number, I can't keep somewhere here, because my number may go even beyond this. So it's a number, I can only sure about the left alignment. So let me cut the column here, and in this case let me cut the column here, because it's a number, so it has to be right aligned. Otherwise this is a text, you can even keep here, because it may not go beyond this. So anywhere you can keep it. Now let me go towards right side very quickly to do the text to column. Very quickly, please have a look. Let me keep here the cursor. This is just for experience. Now you can keep here. I'm just thinking my numbers may not go beyond this. If you think that maybe more bigger numbers may be there, maybe you can keep the cursor. Interest rate is this. Maybe you can have a theo balance is this. You can have outstanding balance is this. You can have irregularity. You can have sanction date. EMI is due, EMI is paid, EMI is overdue, new IRAC status. Now you can connect with this file, because just now I have shown you one PDF where new IRAC is there, old IRAC is there, arrear condition is there, and so on. Then you can have a currency, you can have account maintaining branch, then EMI or installment amount, then you can check it out, the irregularity date, what is the unrealized interest and what is the accrued interest. Now you just go to the next. Friends, if you don't want any of the columns not required, you can simply select those columns. Then you can say don't import the data. Otherwise, you can leave it as it is. Sometimes date may not convert properly. Then if that is the case, you can select the date column and you can just click it. You tell to the Excel in which format it's already in. Okay, so you can just, I think I did the entire columns properly. Let me click finish. Now, can I do the analysis on this data again? No, because I had to do the text to column. Sorry, I did the text to column. I had to clean up this entire data. So cleaning is one of the very important activities. Many people follow the sort method, but I don't somehow like the sort method. I always like the filter method. What I do, the first step, I delete the data till the heading. I delete the data till the heading. Then what I'm going to do, I will keep the cursor here. I will use a shortcut Control-Shift-N. Concentrate everyone. Control plus Shift plus End will take you to the last cell, sorry, last used cell. Shift is to select. Control for selecting more than one. End is to take you to the end. So from here, Control-Shift-End will select from that cell to the last cell. Simple. Now you go to the data tab and click the filter. Right? Very good. Now, friends, what I'm going to do, I will just filter this. I know that if it is an account number, it has to be a number. Other than number, if any junk data is there, that's not required for me. So select blank cells, not required to me. Select this text. Very quickly select all these things. It's not even more than 6 or 7. You can just select this. Right? First, what I have done, I unselected everything. Then I have selected junk data. Let me click OK. Now what I'll be doing, I'll keep the cursor here. Now I need to use the same shortcut again. What is the shortcut? Control-Shift-End. You may be thinking that, Mr. Saran, there are some of the values which are still there. I'm going to delete. Don't worry. These all are the totals. Even totals are gone. That's fine. Control Shift N. The shortcut I already used. Now, what is the shortcut to delete the rows? Control minus. Then immediately it asks me a question, Mr. Saran, do you want me to delete the entire sheet? Sorry, entire sheet row. Yes. If I click OK, all the junk data got deleted. So I request you, you can have the stepwise working notes when I go ahead, because we have just another 45 minutes. So you can have a running notes if you want. So let me remove the filter. Now let me select the first column, first row, sorry. Then you can have a freeze rows. You can simply go to the view tab. You can go to the freeze pane. I kept my cursor here. You can just freeze the top row. That's all. The advantage is even if I go down, okay, I can see my top heading, because remembering the heading gonna be very difficult, right? Friends, this data, again, you can do the analysis. I was telling you, right? Account type is there, and this is basically what type of product it is. Now, what I can do, I can simply put a pivot table. I can do a lot of analysis on this. You can just go to the insert. You can click the pivot table, click OK. Then it has taken me into the next sheet. Then I can do a lot of stratifications. I can have first stratification based on the product wise. Sorry, if the customer ID is there, customer name is there. Let me go to the columns. Let me see. Customer name is there. Customer number is there. Customer number is nothing but the customer ID. So let us have the first stratification. Customer number wise, how many accounts are there? Let me right click. There's no meaning of summing all the accounts. It has to count. Now what I want, also let me take the outstanding balance, so that we'll see it's worth of looking into those samples. Now what I'll do, I'll just take the sort. In this case, just take the sorting. Now I want A to Z, Z to A, right? So this is one, that is fine. Anyway, this will be covered maybe into the large advances. So you can just take this and so on. You can just start highlighting. In fact, I already covered this. Let me not go much deeper into this. And here this includes the NPA accounts. So whatever the problem NPA file you get it, you can just make you can just put a VLOOKUP function, and you can get the NPA date. You can put whether it's an NPA or not. Then you can keep if it is an NPA in the columns, so that if a value is there in both NPA as well as non-NPA column, that means as per the RBI master circular, if one account becomes NPA, all has to become NPA. So 90% of the cases that may not happen, because that control may be there in the system. That is what the assumption is, but we need to do our own checks. So that's the reason I'm telling. This is one stratification. Let me do the other stratification. Now I'll go to the insert. I'll just click the pivot table. Now let me just click OK. Otherwise, you can just use the shortcut also. I can use Alt D P for pivot table, P for pivot table again. Click next. Click new. No. Why? Because I want to make this pivot table is separate than the earlier pivot table. Let me click finish. Now this stratification, what I'm going to do, I can have limit here, or else I can have outstanding balance here. I can also have the same outstanding balance here, right? Now what I can do, this doesn't give me any meaning. Almost like 1282 different numbers are there, but this may not give me any analysis. What I'll be doing, I'll simply right click this. I can go to the group. Excel is such a smart, because when I click a group on the number column, it identifies that numbers are there. So it takes from the starting 0, ending is nothing but the highest number in this particular outstanding. Then you can ask Excel. Highest is basically this is in the crore. So 2.91 crore. So I want to have 25 lakh as a step value. So you can just keep a step value, so that what Excel does, it's going to give you the range. It just make a simple grouping of the outstanding. What is an advantage of this? Now I'll not just keep it as it is. Let me also take outstanding here. Let me take one more outstanding. Let me take one more outstanding. I know that you may be thinking it doesn't have any sense of keeping the same thing again and again, but this has a lot of sense. Have a look. I'll just keep the sum value here. Keeping two sums one after other will not have any meaning. I know that. Show values by percentage of the grand total. Now let the count as it is. Right click. Show values by. I want this has to be count, and let me right click. Show values as percentage of the grand total. Right. So what is the meaning of it? You can do a lot of analysis out of this. This is sum percentage, this is count percentage, right? Then this is in an stratification of advances portfolio, advances outstanding, right? What I can do this, see if I do an audit of maybe 25 accounts, it may be very small. If you look into the count, only 4 is the count, but you are doing an audit of almost like 23%. So these are all accounts. I'll simply, and also in other way around, if you do these 3 accounts audit, then almost like 9% you're covering. If you do another 10 accounts of this, maybe another 10% you may cover. So put together is 20% you are covering as a statutory audit by just looking into only 13, 12 accounts. If you want to go for much more grouping, you can still go here. I want to have not just 25 lakh. Let me have maybe, okay. Hey, is this 25 lakhs? 291, that's right. So let me have 20 lakh, right? So you can even go into this and so on. So let me right click and let me have group. Anyway, this is fine because in between there are no grouping. So only one account is there. Now if you see almost like you are doing an audit of 30%, if you just look into the 39 accounts, as simple as it. This is another stratification with respect to the value, right? Now interest rate, I can quickly do the same. Now let's go here, have one more pivot table. I request you to use the shortcut, then going into the insert, Alt DPP and P, then you can just click no, click enter. See, these all are standard. Then I can have the product wise, you can just take the product. Where is the product? Account customer number. I'm sorry, where is the account type? Yeah, I think this is the account type. Rows, I can have the interest rate, have one more interest rate, have it, then you can right click, you can have the minimum of this, maximum. Let me have the minimum of this. Then as I said, this is the minimum rate of interest out of this product. This is the max rate of interest out of this product. Have a comparison, this minus this. If the difference is more, then you need to look into. In this case, it looks like because it's a proper file, maybe that's the reason, but still you have, oh my God, 20%. Okay, this is a grand total. So maximum is small. Okay, I think because it's a real file I have taken, that's the reason. But still, you can just look into the same, and you can in fact ask them to look into all these cases. This is very high. Actually, 5% for one customer, it may be 10.1%. The other customer, 15.1%. So you can just look into the sanction letter and start looking at the same. Anyway, this is one stratification you can do. I'm just going through one after other. Now let's go into the limit, and you have a theoretical balance. What do you mean by theoretical balance? Can anyone tell? Theoretical balance is something. Ideally, what must be the outstanding as on this date? That is the meaning of theoretical balance. So in this case, I already kept one file into my working files, ledger file. 1 second. Yeah, let me go here. EMI calculation. This I always keep it handy when I go for a bank audit. See, you have anyway the limit. Let's say, let me take a bigger case study. Now, when the limit is 50 lakh, let me take this 50 lakh, paste here. Now let me take the rate of interest. So what is the rate of interest? 10.3%. So 10.3%, enter. Then how many number of periods? So is it there, the number of periods? Oh my God, 1 second. Sanction date is this. Okay, let me take another case. It must be there. Okay, total EMIs. I think I need to look into the text file to see the headings. I think the headings might have been because that might have came into the two columns. Yeah, EMIs due. This is EMIs paid. So EMIs overdue. So this is due. This is paid. Wherever both are matching, then there's no problem with respect to the account. It seems there are no EMIs, number of total EMIs. Ideally, they must need to mention the total EMI. Okay, that's fine. You can probably look into if any file is there which has total EMIs, then probably you can map that file. I'm not finding as of now total EMIs, but that's fine. What I'll be doing, maybe you can calculate other way around. When you have a file, the last, I think this particular SBI related is given very few information. Earlier we have seen the Andhra Bank file where it has given even total the EMIs. Okay, whatever the case it is. Now let's say 15 years, so equal to 15 into 1 second. What formula I have written? I just would like to see. The number of periods are let's say equal to 10 years into 12 months, right? 120 periods. So I can simply take here 120. I can just adjust the formula. In fact, instead of this, you can take automatically this. See, if you make a structure, everything will happen automatically. That's the reason I always tell these days Excel is much more bigger what we think, right? So let me remove this straight out. This is ideally the theoretical balance. So you can go if already how many dues are there in this particular case. Let's take 50 lakh. When 50 lakh is there, 1 second. If you see here, okay, how many EMIs are? Okay, this is not an example. Now let's take this case study. 10 lakhs is there. And now this is 10 lakh. Let's say 10 years, as I mentioned, the rate of interest is 5%. Just okay, just it's 5%. Then it's not. Yeah, let this be 120 periods. Then this is the EMI. Then how many EMIs are paid? Basically 96 EMIs are paid. So after 96, check it out. How much must be the balance? So after 96, this must be the ideal balance. This is the zero balance, the meaning of this. Ideally, if you pay the EMIs properly, what must be the balance? So now I have a outstanding. Now I can simply have the difference of this minus this. So it's already calculated here. You can compare whether this irregularity is correct or wrong. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just put this minus this. My zero balance must be always equal or maybe lesser than what is outstanding. Okay, just copy this and paste here. So sorry, greater than, right? Now if you see here, now if you observe here, in this case, ideally it must be 1,60,000, but only 89 is there. This is a fair case, fine. Okay, let me just put it this way. But let us look into a situation. Otherwise, I'll just go negative values. So out of the negative values, let us take the highest negative values. Let me click OK. Zero balance ideally must be 0. But outstanding, that means by this time he must have paid everything. If properly he pay. But 3,88,000 is outstanding. Because all EMIs are over, I think that this somewhere went wrong. If that is the case, how can outstanding will be there? Then this is the one I need to take as a sample and further dig into the data. This is also the one I need to take it as a sample, further dig into the data. And in this case, 2.44 lakh is the one, but outstanding is 5.77. Then you can just take it out. There's a lot of difference. And see, EMI is due is this, and EMI is paid is 0. So 7 are due. This may be the reason. If you now look into the sanction date, is there any moratorium availed? If any moratorium availed, then yes, maybe it is basically accrued in the system, but it's not due to the customer. In those cases, that is fine. So until unless I go into the system it's very difficult for me to check these type of things. So that's the reason you can just filter it, highlight all the things. Wherever there is a huge gap, you can just start highlighting. You can ask your staff to look into, check it out. These all are the ones where huge difference is there. You can just check it out. As simple as it, right? This is the sanction date, and these all are the EMIs. How many paid? See, you can check it out. This is actually as per this EMIs due, EMIs paid. This is due. This is paid. So, and this is EMIs overdue. Ideally, see, this minus this must be this, right? So this minus this, and if you look here, these all both has to same. These both columns has to same. So 39 EMIs overdue. Oh my God, 40 EMIs overdue. Even let's say moratorium available, but there is no question of moratorium because the sanction is 17/8/2012. EMIs due are 40 and EMIs paid is 0. Even if you take monthly this one, that may go more than 3 years. So you can just start looking into the different filters. This will give you a lot of analysis. And now let me open the same PDF what I have opened earlier. Now you can start looking into that, how this PDF helped me in understanding this, right? Great. Now I want to know, is there any code of 506 arrear condition? Now what I'll do, I'll just go to the arrear condition. I want to know, is there any 506? Yes, there is. I think it's already NPA. They made it as an NPA, irregularity date sense. 506 is not NPA. It is greater than 3 EMI, 30 days over. So it is SMA. I think after SMA 2, this is near to the NPA or it is already NPA. Now we need to look into the data because 506 is 3 EMIs are overdue. Okay, overdue 30 days, 30 days. So now it has to ideally go into the 4. This is the arrear condition. If I take another arrear condition, interest not served greater than 90 days. So it is basically 604. Let us take, is there any sixth code? No. Now if I look into, because stock statement related, no code is there because they are not maintaining the data in the system. You can just start looking into these arrear conditions. I'm sure you'll find many things. Now what I will do, I'll just, if you have this master data quickly, just give me 1 second. If you have this master data, the job will be much more simple, right? Let me do Control C very quickly. I'll just prepare a master data. Oops. Okay, it's coming everything one below. Okay. Anyway, if it comes as a table, okay, later you can prepare it as a table. Otherwise, maybe I can prepare it as a table. I may put one more file with you, share with the SIRC. If this is as a table, you can just simply insert one more column here. Then you can have a VLOOKUP function so that for each respective arrear condition, what is the value it's going to give. Then you can simply make a pivot table so that you will get to know what arrear condition you need to focus more. As simple as it. As I said, based on this arrear condition, the new IRAC and old IRAC happened. So if you check it out, the old IRAC status, okay, these many status are there. I think after 4, everything is NPA. You can just check it out. The IRAC related, what is the meaning of 8? So 8 is the loss asset. This is the risk grade. Then 7 is the doubtful letters greater than 3 and so on. Okay, if you put a NPA, whether this is already NPA or not, if you put a VLOOKUP function, you can take out all those things. Other than NPA cases, you can do this entire exercise and so on. Okay, so this is one file through which you can do a lot of analysis with respect to the EMIs. Now let me just go and save the file in the same folder. Now I can just keep it as a loan balance file. Okay. I just prepared a small Excel, maybe helpful to you. Yeah, 1 second. This is just the nutshell of what the IRAC norms. I just started keeping As you all know, the prudential norms in case of interest or principal installment remains overdue for a period of more than 90 days in respect of term loan. In other way around, as I already mentioned, it's a 3 installment. If the Theo balance is less than outstanding, I already mentioned for you, then Theo balance minus outstanding divided by EMI, you can just check it out. Is it greater than or equal to 3? Basically, Theo balance, as I already mentioned, ideal balance. If they pay everything on date, how much must be the balance? Outstanding is actual one, the ledger balance. If the Theo balance minus outstanding, that means yeah, divided by, I think it's other way around. If the outstanding minus Theo balance is divided by EMI is greater than 3, let me correct it quickly. This must be the minus actually, because outstanding is more, then only the situation will come. Okay, so outstanding minus Theo divided by EMI, is it greater than or equal to 3? That means 3 installments are already overdue. Then you can make it as an NPA. Okay, so as per 2.1.3, an account is classified NPA only if interest due and charged during any quarter is not served fully. This is basically in case of only interest cases, in case of moratorium. Okay, so I'll just go into this out of order related file. Before that, let me go into the CCDP file quickly. I'm sure a lot of videos are already there, which I have myself given in the previous session also. That's the reason I'm not making it more elaborate. If you want, the video is already there in the SIRC website. I request you to subscribe SIRC channel and you can search for the bank audit seminar. Last year, you can find this. However, for this year, let me tell you very quickly how to convert this file. Okay, so you can just do Control A, Control C. These all are the SA returns. Now I can open a file. You can just do Control V, and you can just go to the text column. But the unfortunate thing in this file is one account is running into 6 rows. One account is running into 6 rows. If I do the text column, for one account related information will be available to 6 different rows. For me, it's going to be very difficult to go and analyze the data. So what I'll be doing, I first, as I mentioned, I delete every time till the first row. So till the heading. Now I can use a function called concat to join all these 6 items together. Friends, this concat function is available from 2016 version or Office 365. If it is a previous version, you can't use this function. Concat is basically to join all items together. If yours is the old version, don't worry. This, you can join with this, you can join with this, you can even join with this, you can even join with this, and the symbol is the one which I'm using to join. Just enter, right? So once you join all these 6 items, these all 6 items comes one after other. Now keep the cursor here, Control Shift End. I already covered this shortcut. Control Shift End will take you to the last cell, last used cell. Then I can use, you know what, filter. You can just go to the data, you can just put the filter. Just for your identification, this is the place I have written the formula. You know what is the formula I have written? I have written the formula of A1 join with A2 join with A3 join with A4 join with A5 join with A6. Enter. Now let me copy this. Now what I'll be doing, okay, you can't copy paste below because this has to be pasted everywhere in the first row. Control V, Control V. You can't go manually because it takes a lot of time. What I'll be doing now, instead of pasting manually, I will see the uniqueness out of all these first rows. The uniqueness out of all these first rows is everywhere you have this pipe symbol, then space is there, then 1 is there, because before starting the account number, this is standard code. Till here, I can just copy Control C. Otherwise, you can even type. So I can simply go here in the search, I can do Control V. Once I do that symbol space 1. Otherwise, if you wanna keep this symbol from the keyboard, above the enter key, you have this symbol, right? You can just click OK. Once you click OK, all the first rows of respective accounts got highlighted. Now I can just copy this and I can just paste this data till end. Otherwise, you can simply go here. You can just keep the cursor at the end. Just double click this. This is my proper data. Let me do Control C. Let me go here. Let me do paste special values. so that I don't want the formulas to come, the values are coming. I can simply go to the text to column. Now this is a delimited with a pipe symbol. You can just go to the next. That's not listed here. I can go to the other. As I already mentioned, shift plus enter key above. Enter above, there is a symbol, right? Backward slash. Backward slash is having a combination of this symbol. You keep that symbol, automatically it's a text column. Go to the next, finish. And this is my proper file having so many columns. My request to all of you, before going into the bank audit, for each column, you try to put what all analysis you can do from the account ID. So account ID, I can do the analysis, account customer ID versus account ID verification, account ID is important. And what all other cases account ID is important. That's what you can note down, so that immediately once you go and you can start looking into the same. And also name of the borrower, maybe last name I can find. So last name analysis, that's nothing but a surname, or else partners analysis. Maybe one firm has taken the loan. I know that by looking into the partnership deed, there are 5 partners are there. All 5 partners also having the facility in the same bank. Then I need to try to connect the dots looking into the bank statements. Is there any funds flowing freely from one account to the other account? So this column is helpful to analyze these 2 things. Maybe in case of companies, you can take the director's information just by going to the MCI website. So company versus director's analysis, right? So partners versus firm versus partners, right? Last name analysis is basically in one house. May be same or may not be same. Just because Uppalapati, my surname is Uppalapati, it doesn't mean all Uppalapatis are belong to the same house. But just for the verification, okay? Why this is important, you know? In case of security, let's say in the same family there are 5 people who has taken the loan. So if you look into the total exposure and the total security, maybe 2 people might have kept the same security, or whether one person maybe kept the entire security, the other person did not keep any security. So around that, you can just start connecting the dots. You may find some inferences. Constitution, again, as I already mentioned, these 2 points you can start getting into. So probably these 2 types of analysis you can do by analyzing this particular column of constitution. I can just filter out all the companies. In this particular case, there are no companies. Then when companies are there, then you can immediately go to the MCA website and start looking into who are the directors. Then you can just filter, is there any name with the director and so on. Then date of sanction is very important to find the mortality case, early mortality. We use this column for that, early mortality cases, right? Then PR code is very important. This is a product code. So product code versus interest rate, right? So this is important for that reason. Now any investment in the PM plant and machinery, see 90% of the cases data is not there. That's the problem. So interest rate is again the same. You can just combining these 2 and you can start analyzing this. And a limit DP you can compare with the outstanding. In this case, actually, while I copy paste, it seems same data might have pasted here. But otherwise, what type of formula you're going to write? Ideally, you can just have the function. You can take the minimum of your sanction limit RDP. Then what I'll be doing, I can just simply take main function of these 2. But friends, you can't take it because as of now the headings are also same, 8 space, 9 space. How to overcome this? Can anyone tell? You can't simply take Control F. You can't simply replace Control H. You can't simply replace 8. Why? You know the reason? Because if 8 is there among these numbers, that 8 also will be replaced. You can't put 8 space also, because maybe the last number is 8 and there is a space, the last number will get removed. So in this case, I have a technique for you. I'll take into the data, I can go
Members, it seems some technical issue. Then the Selva is taking care. Within a few minutes, the speaker will come back.
Sir, in the meantime, shall I make some announcements, Chairman, sir?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, for the benefit of members, the upcoming programs from SIRC are 18th March, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Issues in GST input tax credit by S. Venkatramani, Bengaluru. 3 hours CP program is there. And on 20th March, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. latest developments in the legal compliances of MPOs with special focus on FCRA 2020 by Dr. C.A. Kandasamy, Chennai. And on 21st, a very important public program on union budget and the macro economy. There are a host of great speakers. Sir, are you back? And on 23rd, practical issues of accounting standards relating to financial closure for 2021 by K. Gurraj Acharya, 2 hours. 25th March 2021, 6 to 8, new code of ethics and disciplinary mechanism with practical case laws by C.A. Manoj Padnis, past president of the institute. And 27th March, practical issues of accounting standards relating to financial closure by C.A. Chinnasamy Ganeshan. These are the programs for March. Please note these things. Chairman, sir, the month program, that is for the month, once mail has gone last time.
Yes, sir.
Can we send for last 10 days, like from 20th to 31st, what are the programs in the month? Like?
Oh, yes, sir. Tomorrow we'll send.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll send, sir. Individually, for every program, individually we are sending. One consolidated mail we are already sent.
Because so many programs are there, they are not catching up, but some members complained today that.
Sir, once they click in our SAS website, it will show all the programs.
Yes. This SMS has not come today.
Only one program. If they can go for this one, register one particular program. They can see all the programs. What are the programs? The date wise it is there.
Yes. Today many have not received that SMS. I don't know how it. Some people have not received the alert SMS that normally is sent on the same day. That is today for this program.
Sir, really sorry for the technical glitch, sir.
No problem. No problem, sir. Beyond our control. Once again, welcome back, sir. Please, you continue, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Is my screen visible for everyone? Can someone please confirm? Is my screen is visible?
Yeah, visible, sir. Visible.
Okay,
you can proceed, sir.
Yeah, friends, I was just talking about in this case how to eliminate the serial number. So what you can do, you can simply select this column, then you can go to the text column, then you go to the fixed rate, then you go to next, then you can just click next, then you can, I don't want this column to come, so don't import this column. Let me click finish. So this is the limit. Now very quickly, let me do the same steps for this, because this one also I have to eliminate the heading column. So let me go to the next. Make sure that you are not importing this column. Otherwise, this will become two columns. Already there is a data. It may overwrite the next column data. You must be very careful. And this one also, let me go here and let's go to the fixed weight and let me go to the next and click next. And I don't want to import this column. Finish. Now you can have a very simple function equal to if this, minimum of these two is greater than this, greater than or equal to this, that's fine. So your outstanding is lesser than limit, then it is within the limit. So this is within the limit. If not, it's not within the limit, it is excess. But for your information, let me tell you very clearly. See, in this case, actually, I have taken the same data, copy pasted here. That's the reason. Otherwise, it may be within the limit because both are same. Let me tell you very clearly, this is as on the date. Okay. So as on that date, it may be outstanding. I can simply say that it's out of order. Now you need to take the account particularly, then you have to work on, right? So these three columns will help us in understanding that way. You can just see the security, then you can see last stock date. So I'm sure this may not be 90% available. And the credit rating, as I already mentioned, the credit has to be credit rating is important, because if you look into the LFR, this time they asked a question whether they have taken, just give me 1 second. Let me open that file. I think I closed it mistakenly, not this. I'm just trying to connect with the LFR so that you can understand. So yeah, new LFR review. Let me just have credit rating. Is there anything? Yeah, whether correct and valid credit rating is available of credit facilities of the bank borrowers from the RBI accredited credit rating agencies has been fed into the system. So maybe if they keep the information properly here, this only for one person they kept as before, then you need to look into this credit rating. Is it a local credit rating agency, or is it approved by RBI accredited credit rating agencies are there? As you know, CRISIL, CARE, and a lot of credit rating agencies accredited by RBI. So you can look into the same. Then this is credit summation. Then this you can look into the charge type. This is whether any ECGC amount covered or not. As you all know, in some of the cases wherever it mentioned in the sanction that ECGC being covered, let's say if there is a 2 crore is the loan, and out of 2 crore, 1 crore, 50% out of the unsecured portion, 50% ECGC is covered. Then on the remaining portion, they need to take a provision when it becomes NPA. That is what the ECGC related. In small branches may not be available. So other limit amount. So this may be relevant because I already told you, right? In case of customer having more than one account, this is the place you will find other limit amount. Maybe you can just look into the same. And this is what last credit. This may help you to understand how far it is with the due date as on 31st March and so on. Just go through one after other. As I already mentioned, this primary security is the one in case of NPA. It is not actually an NPA file. This is SA1. SA1 is basically a standard assets greater than 1 lakh. So no question of NPA out of this. Maybe out of your verification, if you find something can be slipped into NPA, probably you can just find out. So this is a primary security value, and this is a tangible security. If any insurance is there, if any irregularity is there, maybe you can just take that irregularity amount. And especially in case of term loans, as I already mentioned, just check it out. Is that irregularity amount divided by EMI, is it more than 3? If it is more than 3, that means 3 installments, more than 3 installments is overdue, and so on. So just go through the same each and every file. As I mentioned, this is the way you can just start noting down. You may not find the entirely in one day. Maybe when you start looking into the files, and maybe at the time of branch, you may find a couple of things that, okay, this column can be useful in this purpose and so on. Then this will be directly maybe as a audit program you can have, and immediately they'll start working into these files. Now let me save this file as CCDP conversion. Just give me another 10 minutes before myself close the session after question and answer. Till now, I didn't do any analysis with respect to the CCDP files. I have one account that is a very old account, that's fine. But okay, instead of even doing text to column or anything, first I'll do quickly how to convert any account statement into the calendar statement format. Then probably we'll go into the all these three case studies which I thought I was explaining. Okay, when it is excess the limit, it is very simple calculation. When it is within the limit, in what cases it is, and so on. Now what I will do, I just take one file called ledger account analysis. This is a very old file. This is just for to refresh you how to do the ledger account analysis. Now what I'm going to do, this is a file account statement. As you already mentioned, you will have two types of statements are there. One is the account statement, the other one is the calendar statement. So basically account statement is the one is a ledger account or bank statement or anything. So what is the problem with the account statement files? On the same day there may be more than one transaction, and some of the days there are no transactions at all. So if I want to check it out whether a particular item is an out of order, I need to check it out the end of the day balance, right? So if that is the case, I need to accumulate all the debits and credits of that particular day, and I should take the closing balance as at the end of the day. So if that is the reason, I can't do a lot of analysis with the account statement. So I need to convert the same into the calendar statement format. So to convert the same into the calendar statement, there are different methods. You can take a date starting from first date of that period till the 31st March of the period. Then you can do the summing function, but instead I use a consolidate feature. What I'll be doing, I'll just go here. I'll take I know that in the same year, this is actually belongs to 16-17 financial year. I just fabricated this data with that year. So I can have this as a date. You can just put this +1 so that a calendar will come start from this date till the 31st March of 2017. Let me drag this down, no problem. Let me drag this down. Okay, so I want to go 31st March. Oops, 1 second. Yeah, this plus this. Then you can just go. Okay, I think I should only drag this one. Yeah, 11th, 12th, and so on. I think it has went much beyond. So this is 2017. I don't want. I want to take only till 31st March. I want to take only till 31st March. Yeah. Right. So let me take a copy and paste. 31st March. Now I'll just keep my cursor here. Concentrate everyone. One of the very important feature, unexplored feature by many people called consolidate. You can go to the data tab, go to the consolidate, then select these three columns, add in the memory. Then you can just go to this date, select this column, add in the memory. Then you can just click top row left column, click OK. Then this is basically a date column. By the format it has given as a number column, just convert it to the short date. This is a date column. This is the debit and credit column. Then what I can do, I can have my own closing balance. So how to have a closing balance? It's very simple. Debit minus credit. This earlier day closing balance plus debit minus credit. You can simply copy paste this till the end, till the last day. This is the real balance I need to consider to count for the out of order. Now in this case, let's say 5 crore is the sanction limit or 6 crore is the sanction limit. So how can you write a formula to get the out of order? It's very simple. I put a if function. I'll first put a if function. I'll first cross check, is it greater than or equal to is it greater than 5 crore? If it is, then it is within the limit. If not, it is excess, right? And copy. Hey, sorry. If it is greater than 5 crore, okay, less than or equal to 5 crore within the limit, otherwise excess. Just copy and paste. Now this is the out of order column. I'll write a very simple if function, concentrate. See, there are only 3 cases which can happen. As on day is within the limit, next day also within the limit. Otherwise, as on day is within the limit, next day is excess. Otherwise, as on the day is within the excess, next day is also excess. Only 3 cases you can find. Let me consider all these 3 cases and write the formula. Let's say if this is excess. Friends, if this is excess, then I need to check it out above cell. If this is above 1 is also excess, then I need to make a cumulative value. Don't confuse. If cross check, is it equal to within the limit? If it is within the limit, I least bother, I want to have 0, that's all. Because if it is within the limit, I don't want to make a cumulative number of days. If it is not within the limit, then let me ask one more question. That means if it is not within the limit means definitely this is excess. If it is excess, cross check, is it within the limit? That means earlier cell than this is already excess, but this is within the limit. That means first time, first day in the cumulative, okay, this is out of order. So how many number of days? It is limit, it is excess. So day 1 this is basically, right? If not, that means this is already excess. This is also not limit. That means this is also excess. That means above cell value plus 1, because I want to have a cumulative number of days. Don't confuse. This gonna be very simple formula. I'm just comparing. Is this equal to limit? If it is, I don't want to count the number of days, because within the limit I don't want to count at all. If not, check it out the previous day. Is it within the limit? If yes, because this is the first time it is coming, so first day. If not, earlier one also excess, above plus 1, enter. Right? Now you can simply copy paste. This is 0. This is also 0 because all are limits. This is also 0. Now could you please tell me what may be the answer? 1. Just drag it down. Wow. Because it is excess continuously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can have a glance. So right till 42 it is excess. Then again there was a credit on 31st December. Then again after 1 day they have withdrawn. Then again excess. So again it continued for more than 42 days. Again there is a credit and immediately there is a withdrawn. Then again excess. Okay. So there are many observations you can get out of this particular statement, because there are no sufficient credits first of all, and it is irregular. Second thing is, I'm sure he may be having other current account through which the entire sales are happening. There's this current account where the sales are not at all happening, and also continuously it is excess for 45 days, 46 days, just to make it out of order, just to make outside the out of order. They are just depositing the money and withdrawing on the next day. As simple as it. Okay, so this is the way any account statement you can do the analysis. Because for the time constraint I have not taken the description. Let me tell you, in the bank description, bank statement description is the most important. As I already mentioned in the previous case study, you can find the partner name or director name. Those all you can find from the description only. Maybe if you are looking for a company CCOD account, bank statement, you just search the description with the names of the director, with the names of the partner, then you highlight it, how frequently it is happening, then you take that particular bank statement of a director or a partner. If it is available into the same bank, you can compare. If it is not available, you can comment. Simple. You can just get the comment why it is happening. Is it any is it any funds transfer happening from this account to the other account? That is what the diversion of funds. For the IRAC norms, there are rules already set. But when it is serious irregularity, when you think something to be commented, then of course you can go and put into the LFR. And also one more important thing, let me close with this objective statement. If it is just because you are keeping into LFR, it doesn't mean you need to put as a qualification. Whether you need to put into the qualification or not, that is based on professional judgment. If you look into the Third one, where any of the comments made by the auditor in their LFR is adverse, because lot of irregularities you will put it. They should consider whether a qualification in their main report is necessary. It should not, however, be assumed that every adverse comment in LFR would necessarily result in a qualification in the main report. In deciding whether a qualification in the main report is necessary, the auditor should use their professional judgment in the facts and circumstances of each case. So how serious the irregularity? So it is based on the professional judgment you can decide. Just because something you are keeping into LFR, it doesn't mean that can go into the qualification. That is purely based on the professional judgment. I'm just stopping here. So I think I've covered more or less many aspects, maybe little disconnected from here there, but I just made a small comments. Another 1 minute, please. So if it is excess than the limit, it is very clear. Whatever the formula I have written, this is much more sufficient through which you can identify. You can simply put a filter. Based on that, you can identify the highest number. So if the highest number is 42, that means throughout the year, 42, see, 2 times exactly till 42, it is excess and it went back. This is at least okay. 41 days is okay. Many a times it happens, you know how 85 days continuously excess, then 86th day there may be a payment. Again 89 days continuously excess, then again 87th day there may be a payment. If that is the case, you have to take it very seriously and you should put into the LFM, for which I kept here. If it is within the limit, this is most important. If it is out of the limit, anyway, it's a very straightforward. Within the limit, check it out. No credit continuously for last 90 days as on the date of balance sheet. So you just take, let's say year end is 31st March 2021, then start date is 31st December 2020, because 90 days is the one. Then you can just check it out whether was there any credit. Let's say this is what my ledger account. Let me remove this. I can simply go back. I'm sure there are many credits. In this case, it's not applicable. So this will not become NPA if it is within the order, because there are so many credits. If not, then you can make it as an NPA. There is one more case. Credits in the account are not sufficient to cover interest debited during the same period. It's not about serving the interest, but covering the interest. To take an example, in the January month, there is a payment of 50,000, right? Then January, February, March, 3 months put together, the credit was 50,000. Then 3 months debit of the interest is 45,000. Still, that is within the order because already it has covered. So he much more prepaid than what he need to pay. But let's say in the month of December 15th, he paid 1 lakh rupees. Then January month, February month, March month, the debit is 30,000 only, the interest. But in this case, am I need to make it as an NPA? Absolutely yes, because 2 conditions it is following. No continuously credit for 90 days. Even let's say he paid 1 lakh. In January month, he paid only 5,000. Okay, even the 5,000 is not sufficient. So 5,000 is not sufficient to cover 30,000. Though he paid much more excess in the previous quarter, it is treated as an NPA. So you can just look into these 3 case studies. Based on this, your formulas and analysis of account statement may change. So this is, as you already know, the straight away classification. So when you have a column of the valuation, then you can just start looking into the valuation. What was the previous valuation? What is the current valuation? When there is a reduction of 50%, then straight away doubtful assets. When there is more than less than 10% realizable value, then you can take it as a loss asset. In case of fraud, this is okay. By looking into the document, you can see, because fraud will never be into the system. If you identify a fraud, then 100% that has to be taken into the provision. If it is not informed to RBI, 100% immediately. If not, you can spread it over for 4 different quarters. As simple as it. Okay. So I'll just stop here. I know covering with Excel, it is just a it will just go on for even next 2 hours. It is based on the data, based on the files we have. But my only suggestion: spend sufficient time, 1 full day on the raw data. I'm 100% sure you will get more observations than required I'm sure with that observations, you can go to the branch and you can directly attack into the accounts for which you need to look into. Okay, that saves a lot of time also. With this, I'm just stopping the session. Maybe next 2 minutes, we can take question and answer, then we can close. That's all from my end. Thank you so much.
Great presentation, sir. Marathon 3 hours presentation. Thank you very much for that. And really, your energy is laudable. And can we take questions, sir?
Sorry, sir. We can take question and answer.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we can take, sir. We can take.
How many questions are there?
Almost 20, sir.
Oh. So again, he is disconnected. Shall I read out for you, sir?
Says paper wrapping the columns in say 3 or 4 columns. Entire data of each borrower will be into. I think this is what I just now covered. CCDP file as an example. Yeah, I think this I already answered. Is it not? Sorry, is my voice audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible, sir. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, I think the first question file I have already considered.
Okay, sir. Then we will go to next.
Covered CCDP file. Please mention the important concept for article trainees to keenly do in the bank audit using MS Excel. My suggestion: you give the logics to them, and they are the best people than you. Sorry to say this, because they are having advanced ADT. They are having. I think my network.
So you could
Sir, is my
continue,
voice
sir.
audible, sir?
Yes,
Yeah,
audible,
because-
sir. You
yeah,
can continue.
Yeah,
Computer is not coming. That's okay.
So
Video is not coming.
that's what my suggestion. So you give the logics to them because you have a lot of experience in the bank audit. They are the people who can keep the logic into the Excel. So ask them to look into the pivot table, VLOOKUP function, if function, and I'm sure they are pretty enough to do these things because these days advanced ADT and ITT covers much more content than this. So please share this internal control sheet of financial menus, PDF named internal control. I'll be certainly sharing to the SIRC again through another email, whatever the files which I missed earlier. I'm sure certainly they are going to forward to you. Can you send the financial menu book as you mentioned? Okay, that already answered. It is observed that in many cases the payee name is not given in the narration in payments. Only the customer account number is given. In such cases, we are unable to comment on diversion of fund. Please advise customer is maintaining the current account which was held prior to the availing the bank loan. The credits are not reflected in the loan account. Sir, that's what a challenge is. So you need to go to the other methods. Account number is there, then you check it out how many times that account number is getting repeated. So that means out of many debits out of the account, more times the diversion is to the same account. Then you can ask always the branch manager to get the account statement and you can ask the clarification. And I think the second part of the question I didn't understand. Customer is maintaining the current account which was held prior to the availing the bank loan. The credits are not reflected in the loan account. That is what the problem with the majority of the cases. So that we need to tackle clearly. So if I'm sure they may be having other account, so you can comment into the LFR just by considering we can't say NPA because as long as they are serving the interest, if it is not out of order, probably we can probably comment in the LFR stating that for all these list of customers, the credits are not floating into this account, something like that. Sir, in Excel banks, sir, in some banks, Excel is not available in the computer node allotted to the bank auditor. What is to be done? I'm sure there may be Excel definitely will be there. May not be MS Excel, maybe Office. Open Office is there, but as I already mentioned, Sridhar sir, sorry, you get the information. That is the only way. Otherwise, you ask them that I want a system where Excel is there. As I said, that's pure art. So good evening. While converting from text to column, is there any space at the end of the number? How to remove the space of all transactions? Sir, if just a number having extra space, that automatically eliminate. You can't type 100 space. Even if you type 100 space in Excel, that automatically converts into 100. But the only problem comes, when there is a leading spaces, not the following spaces. When there is a leading space with a text, then you have to go with Control H and you can replace the space, as simple as it. Saran, please kindly teach us how to convert the text to column where the data is more than one. I think that has all been covered. Sir, is selection of 100 crore is customer level or account level? Is given 10 crore is customer level or account level? It's account level. It's not customer level. In case of gold loan, we will check some of the loan package for a weight check. In that case, whether we have to give the account number 2 in the list of accounts examined by us. Of course, see, they have only given the limit. Other than that limit, if you find any irregularities and you examined something, you are always free to put, because the percentage always get increased, the sample percentage. Quick mortality has to be seen from the date of first disbursement or from the date of first sanction. They clearly mentioned it's from the sanction date. Okay, I think that is the case. Let me quickly check quick mortality. Yeah, have you come across the cases quick mortality in accounts where the facility became non-performing within the period of 12 months from the date of first sanction? They clearly mentioned date of first sanction. It's not the disbursement date. How do I get hold of the text file with advances data if branch is saying they are not aware of such file? Sir, if it is a SBI, there is a network in which you can find all the files. You spend some time, especially exceptional reports are also important. I'm sure once you start browsing it, you'll find the files called loan balance file, then a CCOD file and a CCDP file. If they are not aware, then probably you have to take the control of system and you should start looking into it. If it is a Finacle, there are many Finacle codes which going around. I probably gonna share a couple of CBS related commands. Maybe you can search for the right code to download the reports. Does CBS gives only text format report? It is based on the purpose of it. Maybe that is again person to person. For some of the users, it may be text file. Maybe at the higher level, if the executive want to do some analysis, maybe they might have converted everything into one dashboard, and the dashboard also may come. But majority of the cases text file, because that may save a lot of yeah. Sir, is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, sir. It's audible, sir.
Yeah.
You continue, sir.
Yeah, because I am getting a message that my server got lost. Okay, thank you. So, sir, I'm just trying to tell you how do I get the text files. They are not aware. As I said, they put in the text file because text files save very less memory instead of other files. That's the reason most of the cases it is into the text file. That is the reason. Sir, please share the final working file after the webinar so that that will be taken care. But sir, in data we get there is a gap between each types of loans. How to manage it and make a single data without any lines in between? I think that file I already covered. I think Vrishali, you can elaborate your question. Yeah, I request the presenter to help us in converting the raw data into the proper row and column. I did a couple of examples. I am going to share the FlexiCube and Finacle, whatever I have. Clarify the difference between demand outstanding and term outstanding. That is only there in the that is only there in the Andhra Bank. I am not sure. I think last time I got some clarification on the demand outstanding. I'm not sure. Ideally, there must be one column which is a term outstanding. Excuse me for that. Maybe if I find it, I may share through other channels. Banks don't allow the data outside the branch, sir. Again and again, I'm telling that's not. There is no standard thing we need to request for. If data is not filled up by the bank manager, therefore the system is not showing NPA correctly, how is the auditor responsible? Are we doing the base work of investigation, sir? That's what I'm saying. But for example, tomorrow if they come back and ask you, you should have a proof. As long as you prove that yes, based on the data I did the audit and it's not NPA, you are safe. But only the case if everything is readily available with you, but still you are not doing a proper audit, then a lot of problems will come. So when ICAI publication revised LFR is getting, I am not sure. I think Jalapati sir can answer the 19th question much better. I'm not sure when they're going to release this year. I think most of the people are waiting for the guidance note of ICAI.
Maybe I will request the Central Council number, sir. Maybe I will request ICAI and update.
Sure. I had come across a situation where EMI due itself was wrongly fixed for home loans and vehicle loans. To be specific, the EMI itself was fixed lower than the interest charge for the month. For example, the EMI for the housing loan is 35 lakh and the EMI is 15,000. The loan lapsed 50% of the tenure, but the outstanding was more than the original loan given. Whether we have to consider the same as an NPA or not. I think it is an NPA if I'm not wrong, because the theoretical balance, you need to check it out whether they properly fed into the system. If it is already fed into the system, everything calculated properly, but the EMI fixed is, sir, I don't know whether it's a practical case or not. Based on the interest, based on the loan sanctioned, based on the number of periods, EMI calculation will be automatic if I'm not wrong. But in our case, you are saying everything is correct except the EMI, I doubt. But if that is the case, I think NPA has to be done, because you are not, that might have already due in the system. So that may be more than 90 days, then ideally that should go into the NPA. Maybe if I get a better clarity, I can answer that. Sir, what is the okay. Yeah, the last question, sir, please explain the text to column conversion of the case which 40-50 column. Sir, I think I already covered, sir. Sir, if you think I went little faster, you please subscribe SIRC YouTube channel. Last year I explained in detail because I don't want to get boring. So that's the reason I covered other topic this time more than the conversion of 4 columns files, but you can go through the same, sir. Okay. I think I answered all the questions with my level of knowledge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I think again disconnected.
Sir, I think I answered the questions.
Yes, yes, sir. So covered, sir. Entire questions we have covered in an excellent way.
Great.
Okay.
That's all from my end, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the marathon session and also very lucid presentation with the practical issues. We, on behalf of SIRC, we wholeheartedly thank Saran Kumar, sir, and also thank each one of you, the delegates, large in number. I think it touched almost 1,300 at some point of time. So thank you very much, all the members who have registered yourself of this very useful and very technical session. And I also thank our chairman, K. Jalapati sir, for his presence throughout the session. And also I thank the office, both the Parmeshwaran sir and also the man behind the technical, Selva and his team. Thank you all for the cooperation, and we'll meet again day after tomorrow for 18th program. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you all.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.